Yeah. All right. Thank you for the to the patrons for the continued support as always, man. I'm gonna have somebody up in here in this live today. We're gonna go in on a few things, so I'm just waiting for the request so we can get the thing going. You guys, if anybody coming in now, y'all can ask some questions or whatever, however you want to go about it. We'll probably have a pretty good live. I've been meaning to do this live for a few days, but we was busy, so it should be.
Yo, yeah,
You hear me good? All right,
I'm laughing
cool,
because you
cool.
said I've been meaning to do this live for a few days. Man, it was hard to link up. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Man, Mercury retrograde, man. I wasn't even expecting too much. Cause I was like, damn, man, just trying to get the energy to match, do it, and not be rushing.
I know. That's why I felt. And then the one day we was gonna do it, and then you were like that Mercury, and I was like, yeah, bro, this is crazy right now.
Yeah, yeah, man. I don't know. I feel the effects of it. I guess so far.
Talk about what you're feeling.
I mean, old people popping up, just dreams kind of going back to certain places and stuff and certain time periods, and then I've been just I don't know. I've been getting deja vu. It feel like deja vu, but in like mad ways. It kind of feels like what I was going through 6 years ago, because we had a retrograde in August 6 years ago,
Mm.
and it feels like it's like I wonder if I get old enough to get a hang of like what they're all bringing
Oh,
back
okay.
every time. You know what I mean? I don't know, but kind of feels like that
Mm.
one. Don't feel bad. It don't feel necessarily bad. Yeah, it just feels like old stuff kind of remixing and coming
Mm-hmm.
back.
So how you been feeling though these past couple of days? Because I know, like you said, we were supposed to do this a couple of days ago, and like I said, I had a bunch of stuff happening. Just
Yeah,
flies. It's like, whew. How about you?
yeah, it's better than forcing it. Man, just between practice and the weight room and dealing with language barriers and personalities. You know what I mean? The timing just was off. So I think now it's a pretty good time because got a little moment.
Yeah. So what? What's your schedule like today?
I'll be off on Sundays. I don't have nothing on Sundays. Yeah, it's a pretty Catholic country
Yeah,
here.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to. I don't know if you remember from the live. There's two things I actually want to talk about from the past live before we go into, today, and talk about some things. But two things I want you to go in on is the concept of, because I kind of I'm dealing with it right now. When you were like, it's easier to go talk in front of 60,000, or do comedy, or perform in front of 60,000, and then but it's harder to do the easy stuff, like being a father, or go showing up for your mom,
Yeah.
and I want you to go down because
Yeah.
I told you I'm right now I'm the only one that has a car, so I'm showing up for people. I'm driving them well, I'm driving them away, or my grandmom got like cancer, so it's like, oh, I gotta go visit her, I gotta show up for her. But it's hard. It's easier to do, like you said, it's easier to go, oh, no mind, let me ignore all the family stuff right now and go off and do my own thing. But yeah, talk about it from your perspective. Like, talk about a personal experience for you. What'd you say? Yeah, I can't hear you.
All right, cool. I was just being dumb.
No, you good.
But yeah, man.
I
Man,
don't,
yeah. I
I
guess the
don't know
more intimate it
about
is,
what they're saying. Megadose vitamin C to mitigate withdrawals. I don't know if that helps.
man.
To be honest, but I personally megadose vitamin C. I mean, I didn't. I don't think that helped.
Ascorbic acid, or like from plants that contain it. I guess that's the question.
Yeah.
You know? 'cause ascorbic acid is like another like thing. You know what I mean? Really, than the vitamin C that you get from like having a piece of pineapple or something. But um, yeah, man, I feel like the more intimate the scenario, the more difficult. I was talking to one of my teammates about the shit about stand up and then whatever, and I was like, man, if it's a packed house, it's a bunch of people in there, especially if I'm not the headliner too. It's like they ain't come to
Yeah,
see me anyway, so I'm just in here, just I'm trying to steal jokes anyway. If I get any jokes, they're all
yeah,
stolen. I'm still winning,
yeah,
and so, but not, and that's how I feel like. If it's intimate though, I've tried to do Jones where it's like 10 people in there and like to focus on the like stay professional to keep the jokes, like to really put on a show still is tough, man. I don't know. It feels like when it's more intimate, it's more
mhm,
difficult. I don't know. I think it's just harder. It's harder to be contrived too, like because if you go in and you have like the cloak of all these different people, kind of in like whatever zones they're in, and if it's like a big crowd, then they kind of influence each other, and like the momentum can build, and I think it can overwhelm individuals. But if it's like 10 people in there, it's way more intimate, so it's like harder to really overwhelm them as a group because it's just like 10 individuals. It's not really like a crowd.
yeah,
It's just like a bunch. It's like a bunch of individuals.
yeah,
So I think, yeah, like if it's just you and your son or you and your mom or whoever, whatever your situation is, it's like this is just intimate as fuck. You can't even really be contrived. You know what I mean? Because if it's a group of people, like they don't know
yeah,
me, and if the momentum starts, shifting, people start laughing at my jokes, then it don't matter. Like if people don't like me or something like that, or they don't trust me or whatever, they just be like, all right, this is what's happening. This is the momentum, so we go with it. But yeah, man, you can have. I feel like you have the benefit of being able to contrive more and put a little more personality on things. But like when it's really intimate, then people they know you. You know what I mean? So you can't just personality your way through stuff. It's like it's gonna require like real intimacy and like real humility, and nobody, you know, has like a fucking antidote for that. I feel like that's just something you just gotta do. It's no like this is how you be humble. Like this is the formula. It's just like every scenario kind of demands its own like tailored form of humility.
I was thinking about that because I had a friend move in, and then I told you my grandmom gets cancer, right? So it's funny because we were supposed to have a party, but since I'm not showing up, now the party's not happening. You know what I mean? So it's like I have to be the catalyst for everybody to show up, and I'm like, damn, that response. Like you said, the intimacy, the it's that's like that weight, being responsible for that. I'm like, man, it's easier to run from that than like you said. If somebody were to tell me, yo, go do this performance over here. Like, obviously, I'm a teacher. Like, go do this performance over here. Go speak to a bunch of random kids. I could do that in a heartbeat. But
Yeah,
show it for my own family. Ah, man, I don't know right now.
I know. Yeah, no, it's tough, man. I think it's hard to show up even, and I think that's the thing as far as like doing work for just for yourself. Like it's like a real intimacy with yourself. I feel like how people say that the work you do when no one's looking and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I think that's like kind of really shows you a lot of who you are, where your will really is, and what you're made of, your energy, where it's at. Because yeah, I mean, like it'd be different times where I'll be just like, do I really have to get up? I could get up an hour later, or I can do this, or I could scroll, or I could talk to a bitch, or whatever. You know what I mean? And it's like I just avoid being. There's nobody making me be intimate with myself and accept myself right now, and I just fuck off the time. And then when I get the days and days of that, then I get around people, and then yeah, I'm even less
Mm-hmm.
intimate with them because I'm not intimate. I'm not intimate with myself.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I could have got up earlier today and did whatever, but I did. I got up a half hour later, hour and a half later, or something, or I didn't just take the initiative to just put in some work somewhere that didn't have didn't apply the virtue to where I could see some progress in my life because there was nobody watching.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to. Well, I was watching. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like my true
Yeah.
self, true self. But I'm like, man, fuck that. I'm not living for that. I'm living for my performative and curate
Isn't
itself.
that crazy? But then knowing that you're doing that in the moment makes you feel the shame that comes with it. Like, man, I'm living for my performative self right now, even though I can't just get up. Like, man, that's a trip.
Yeah, no, I think you really live in time more, a lot more in time. Like everything is like timed. It's not like there's no real virtue in the life. So then I think that you're gonna get up later,
Mm-hmm.
or, and or just be more like, everything you're doing
Yeah.
everything begrudgingly and like dragging yourself through life. So it's all like timed. You're like, it's not for who you are. There's just no
Yeah.
virtue in it. It's just like, oh, when's this shit
You're,
is gonna be
you're
over? I
going
don't want this shit
out.
to
You
be over.
going to go do the weights. You're like, all right, 15 more minutes, and then we out of here.
I'm just only in here for the bitches and for the bitches that's gonna see me
Yeah.
after. You know what I mean? And to intimidate somebody, some dude or something or
You're
whatever.
like, man, I need to get out. That's really how it is, though.
Yeah.
There was,
It's very few people I feel like that work out for how it make like just for how it makes their body function better. It's like it's more so like how does this make me stun on other people and like boost my confidence in a physical way to like try to compensate for
there's
the other area. My muscles is mature, but I'm immature in these other ways.
immature in every other way.
Yeah, most of the time. Most of the time. You might run into some old heads in the gym that's just like, yo, I mean, I like my body feeling
Yeah,
good. It's not about
that's about
what I look like.
right.
Yeah.
But the old heads though, they got to that point because their wife left them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Their wife left them.
Yeah.
They already had like 6 kids from 2 different wives. You know what I'm saying? They
Yeah.
now where they're just like, all right, man, I need to get in this gym.
Yeah. Or they just got like a bunch of
Yeah,
kids and grandkids and they're just like,
yeah,
I don't want to die
yeah.
yet. So
Not
I'm gonna keep
this
going.
too. They got so many grandkids now. They're like, all right, I gotta stay healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's tough, man. I think the small things are the hardest things, you know what I mean? Because there's really no
Yeah,
big things. The big things is
yeah,
all impersonal and not real, kind of, because there's nothing really big. Like, that's in
yeah.
reality. You know what I mean? Things that's real is always like
And
tiny. So,
I think that's where the
yeah.
disconnect comes from. When people like when there's big moments, and some people are like, why aren't you nervous for this? Because this isn't even important. Then they get mad at you for not thinking the big thing's important. I'm like, nah, the everything leading up to it is. Like prime example, it's like um, I'm just gonna break it down in a sense of like Taylor, the conversation you have backstage is more important than you performing on stage, right? Like if you're with your brother backstage and he's like, all right, man, you got this, you can do this. Like that moment right there is more important than how you do, you know what I mean, on the stage. Just like can somebody show up for you in that moment, give you that support, give you that, because that's the little thing. I think about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like such a conflict of interest. I was listening to Black Sam talk to
Oh, you
Big Boy. I
watched
don't know
the
if you
you
saw
watched
it.
the interview already?
Yeah.
I was gonna
Yeah.
put it on, but I'm gonna be honest with you. Wait, I was like, he's doing an interview. Some part of me felt like I didn't even want to watch it. You know what I mean? Because it was like you doing an interview on your brother that just passed. I don't know. I didn't feel right about it. But what was it good?
Yeah, I think Black Sam was, just talking about, he was just talking about his life, the blow by blow of his life. And I mean, that shit was just sad. The last half hour is just sad.
Yeah, I bet.
You know, you know what I mean? Like the rise and everything is like, damn, y'all just really push two and two together, put one foot in front of the other, and you made something of yourselves. But then it was like, yeah, that false self kind of just consumed them. And then it was,
Yeah,
you you're not bigger than
yeah,
anybody. Nobody can, you know what I mean, outrun
yeah,
that behavior. You know what I mean? You invest into that, like, because like Black Sam was like, yo, you know what I mean? When you go to the store, you need to have more security. We need to have this set up. We need to move to the second location. We need to be at the Fairfax location. And just Nipsey just did not want to let it go.
mm. Yeah. He did.
And it's just
I
like,
only
yeah.
that clip about how he was talking about they needed to move locations and how like
Yeah,
guard, somebody always in the front, and there wasn't somebody in the front that day. I did watch all that.
yeah, man. I mean, it just, I think the sad thing, the most sad part about it is it's typical. I think that's what makes things sad is it's
Mm-hmm.
typical. Like when somebody gets murdered or harmed in any real way. You're like, this is just way too fucking typical. This makes it so much more tragic. Like this person was special, but it's like, yeah, and
Oh,
nobody's really gonna. You can't beat the face. Yeah, nobody's really
yeah.
special. Nobody's more special than the causality of your actions. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not. You're never gonna beat that. So nobody's out more special than the result. You know what I mean? The results of their actions. Like, and so it's like, damn, man, it shouldn't have. Everybody wants to be like, this shouldn't have happened to you, but it's like, no. I mean, anybody that makes those decisions, this is what happens. You know what I mean? Like, this, you're not going to escape it. Black Sam's still alive because Black Sam didn't manage his life
Yeah.
that way. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, as much as we want to be like Tupac could survive the shooting, he survived the last shooting. He beat prison. It's like, man, he put himself in these positions. It don't matter who you are, you're gonna get swallowed up, man. And it's very typical, so it's tragic. It's like it's like that motherfucker from Brazil not that long ago, like some soccer player out here. He went swimming in the river. He got ate by a crocodile.
I
I'm
don't
like,
even think.
so, I'm like, yo, just because he was a Brazilian soccer player, you thought he was immune to crocodiles?
Yeah,
Like,
it works for real though.
yeah, like what the fuck?
Man, I can swim in any water.
Yeah, like he got out of practice and he felt like, yeah, I can do this. Like crocodile don't give a fuck what your salary is, you
That,
know, or how many people you
that
influence.
crocodile, like, you know who this is.
Yeah, exactly. You
You
should
should
know.
know.
You should. Yeah,
That's
you
how
know
it,
what I mean.
no. I bet you when you get to that stage, you start thinking everybody should know.
Yeah, I think so. I think that they all just think that they can beat
Yeah.
it. That's the crazy thing. It's just like in Vanilla Sky when he was like, I
Uh,
just everybody thinks that they can cheat getting older and dying. He's like, you think you'll be the one person that figured it out? Like I can, everybody in history couldn't do it, but
but
it's gonna be
yeah,
me.
it's gonna be me. Man, that trip when that came out, I forgot about that, Joe.
Yeah, man.
That makes me think about. Wait,
You know-
if we talk about Nip, you seen all that Kanye stuff?
Oh no, I seen it came out with Vultures too. Yeah, I listened to it like briefly, and I'm like, yeah, but maybe on the second listen it'll be better.
I
But
listened to.
what he said?
No, but they was talking about the dentist got him hooked on nitrous. You heard
Oh
about it? Yeah, yeah,
no,
they got him on
no.
nitrous and taking his money, taking his birth certificate or something like that. Some craziness. I'm like, man, I don't even understand what's going on right now.
Kanye,
Kanye,
man.
man.
You want to ride for him. You
Right?
want to be like, yo, Kanye, guy, yeah, I want to. I want to be like, Kanye, man, he is a genius, man. But then he be doing shit that I'm like, never mind. Never
Yeah,
mind. Idiot
definition
savant.
of like get out of your own way. Like, how do you like? He might even like clear the path from himself, but then be like, wait, I need to double team myself right here, right here. I need
Gemini.
to, you know what I'm saying?
It's big Gemini vibes, bro. It's big Gemini
It's
vibes.
crazy,
I'm like, yo, the other Kanye, that's the other side of the Gemini, like, I'm going to get up in my way
real
real
quick.
quick. Fuck everything up. But yeah, man. Yeah. I don't know I don't know. I don't know the details of it, but yeah,
Yeah, when you get a
Kanye.
chance, look up that man. I was just like, come on, like you know how you read the news and you just like, it's just like you make that face again. You're like, damn, Kanye, like again for real. Um, but another question I had for you was one thing that you do. Um, I don't know if other people do this when they talk. Um, you always, in any point, when you go live with somebody, um, you always ask like one test question, and to see if like the other person is really listening or is really present in the conversation. And what is that about? Uh, about that? Where did you get that tip from? Because I do it. I do it too. Um, it's kind of built off like that conversation yesterday when we were talking about, or the other day when we was talking about with a woman, like you might play this play, do this play, and she reacts this way, and you already knew she was going to do that. But what makes you do that with in conversations and lives and things like that with people? or just in general. Because I remember even watching one of your lives with Pharaoh, one of your lives with Pharaoh, and you asked him a question, and I think he knew that it was a test, but he kind of failed the question and then just let it rock. And I was like, oh, you know what I mean? I want to know about that. What do you think that is?
I guess it's just like a friendly
Yeah,
game of chess. I guess that's what it's like. You know, you come out to the park and be like, "Yeah, you awake today?"
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
You know, I don't really know. I think the lives, man. I already have like a bunch of shit that I be wanting to say, but then I think that the conversation format makes it better because you know, if I just talk, then people can get lost in that. You know, like they might get lost in the weeds of different parts of this shit. Like they're not. If I just go and then go and go and go, then it's like it doesn't
Well,
get like broken up because there's nothing
no, well,
there to
I
break it
think
up.
the problem is when you do the lives and you do talk, the other person, like if it's not like when I listen to you talk, let's say you talk for 30 minutes straight, I'm gonna break down everything you said back, just so I understand it and repeat it back to you. I feel like the other person on the live end just lets like they don't expand on the dialogue. They just take it and go, okay, that was cool, and then just keep going. And it's like there was nothing. You're not producing anything there. I feel like when you do the conversation format like this, when you go back and forth and actually go deep on topics, then I feel like it's okay to ramble for 30 minutes or whatever you do. I think that's just me. Because I like what was
I just think
the you asked a really good question the last live, and I can't remember his name. You asked a really good question that I wanted to go deeper on, and you guys just kept going past it. I'm like, damn, y'all just. I bet you even other listeners was like, yo, what happened to that question? You know what I mean? Sometimes y'all will go past the question and not go back. So
yeah, I just think that like sometimes with the conversation you can actually because people can put themselves in the shoes of
yeah,
the conversation, the person asking the conversation, the question. I mean, because like you know, it's like when I'm just fucking pile driving knowledge or whatever, you
mm-hmm,
know, just being an open fucking spigot,
mm-hmm.
then then I just feel like there's no real context to it or like why anybody should care to ask the questions that match the answers of what I'm answering. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just kind of just going like, yeah, this is what is. And then just, there's no, I don't feel like I'm framing
Yeah,
anything. It's just like, I'm just going into the next thing, into the next thing, and how this connects to the next thing. I think it don't really make sense to a lot of people. I mean, some people can follow it, I guess. And then I think subconsciously people get it
they
maybe,
do.
but then I don't think a lot of people really
Wait, that
follow.
that kind of builds into my next question because you're just talking about like how you can ramble, and one thing. This is from a while ago. This is from you said this a while ago about if people follow you, right, and if they follow you and you know where you're at, then I'm not saying you don't like your followers, but it's like they're not going to be able to help you because they're in the same place as you. So it's like you feel trapped there. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with that emotion of like, damn, if somebody's just finding me, that means they're on this certain path right now, and I know they can't help me. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, because you know it. If they just finding you right now, that means they're like, yo, Taylor, what's up with DMT? You know what I'm saying? You're like, wait, what? Wait, bro, that was 15 years ago. You just watching this now, some shit like that. So how does that feel? For you, do you feel like you didn't do enough, or do you feel like you got to keep going harder? Like, how do you feel in those moments?
Well, I think like in the Hua Hu Ching, Lao Tzu's talking about the teacher student relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just saying like the student needs to prime themselves. It's the duty of the student to prime themselves or whatever, and if they can't prime themselves to be able to learn, then at worst case scenario, they have to be able to bring like material goods and mundane services to the teacher's life or whatever. Like to where there's a trade, like there has to be some principle, some collateral, I guess you could say, or some principle really is the best word. And so I feel like that everybody really is equally valuable in that way. And like kind of like I posted the other day that I just think a lot of people especially since 2020, they got into a certain vein of questioning and conspiracy theory and everything like that. And I think that's great and everything. But for the most part, it's like no different than somebody like, yo, I'm watching season 5 of The Boys right now. And did you see episode 6?
Real shit.
And some people like, nah, I just started the season. I'm only on episode 1 or 2. And they like, yo, well, I know more than you because I know episode 6. And it's like, both of y'all are passively engaging with life, and you're not really applying anything that you are, downloading or receiving, however you want to look at it. You're not applying it. So I think, it's cool that people are being primed with certain information to where they're willing to ask a question that maybe somebody else isn't, or maybe that they wouldn't have asked years ago. So I think that that's cool that there's a whole like space of people that's just like, yeah, I want to know more, and I want to learn about the bloodlines and just the alternative history and things like that. And they're willing, they're open, they're available for that. And then there's people that have been really studying for a long time that actually might have trades. They might know how to do electrical work, or they might know how to farm, or they might whatever it is, or what and then you have the spiritual practices that they've accrued as well, and they can actually facilitate the people that's actually asking real questions, if they actually want to learn and not just want to stay in a passive place where they're just watching season 6 of
Mm-hmm.
The Apprentice, basically, watching season 250 of United States Corporation, and like that's kind of where we at. So I think that there's going to be a lot of people that know what's going on, but they're not in a position to do anything about it. So it's not really any different. In that way too, they kind of are an extension of the propaganda
Mm-hmm.
arm, where it's belittling people's confidence. So I think that it's tough because most people, I think, that are into the conspiracy shit are not going to actually apply themselves and really get in touch with their will.
Yeah.
And they're no different than anybody. And I think that's where it's kind of sad, because it's like you wanted mad people over the years to be like open to certain information, and like so you could have conversations and you could build on that. But now it's more so like I just want to know more so that I can tell people that I
Mm-hmm.
know more. You know what I mean? And so then now it's in the place where it's at now, where it's like, man, this is why ain't nobody getting together like Dole is getting together to buy up land and produce food for people. So what does it matter if you know about the bloodlines of the people? You know what I mean? You're not really applying yourself. So it's all just like worldly information. It's not like applied knowledge. So I think it's cool that you're aware of what's going on, but then it's like, what are you doing about it? Like, how are you applying your will based on your experience and now your knowledge? So I think, yeah, sometimes it's disheartening dealing with people because a lot of people just don't really want to engage with life. And then there's a lot of people that just like allergic to work, you know what I mean? Like scared to work. And um, then there's some people that just like, they only want to work in a way that like preserves their um, creature comforts and that type of shit. So I think it's like fuck, man. It's got so many people that's never going to support, that just they're going to be passively just taking shit in. They're never going to support. They're never going to enhance themselves with skills. They're never going to, you know what I mean? They might as well be just like the person that got the shot. They might as well be. There's no
Yeah.
difference
I
really.
was gonna say that too, because now, the same people who are now waking up to all the conspiracies and stuff, a lot of them got it too. You ever notice that? I'll
Yeah,
be like, wait, you say you be on them. I'll be like, you spiritual. You don't believe, you don't trust the government, but you got the shot. How does that? How does that? You be like, how does that add up? And
mad people. Yeah,
but I feel like people, they want to believe the conspiracies in a sense to in a sense, make themselves feel better about what they're doing, and how they're not actually participating and applying their knowledge and applying their will to what they should be doing. So I think like conspiracies are a way to like, nah, but I know this. You know what I mean? Like they're still on season
Yeah.
one, so they're like, or maybe season two. They might be on season two, so they could be like, yo, I'm on season two though, so I'm still ahead of you. You know what I mean? In a way, so they,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So they don't
Yeah.
gotta go much further.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how I feel like they. That's how they interpret it. That's just what I think.
Yeah, and I think they're just a liability like anybody. If the shit hits the fan, it's like you know, man, me and my brother, we're gonna put something together and when I see him again, and I think it's gonna be great because it's gonna be comedy. And you know, to kind of condense the essence of what I'm talking about is like, yo, man, motherfuckers are not, you know, it's like when the shit hits the fan, imagine being like, yo, we got to pick these crops or whatever, and people just taking selfies with the crops. You know what I mean? Internet's off though. You know what I mean? Everything's just offline. It's like, what are you doing? Like, it's like when I think it was Chappelle or somebody talking about the the whales from SeaWorld. You can't release them into the wild. They be doing tricks for food, and it's like nobody about to feed you out
Yeah,
here. You know, and it's kind of like where we at to where yeah, they're a liability, man. Like, and it's not any different, you know, than anybody that's a liability, you know. And so they're handicapped. Ultimately, it's like a handicap. So like, and then I recognize in areas of my life where I wasted time and handicapped myself and put myself behind the eight ball. So I don't really want to be entertaining and shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't. I really don't want to be in a place where I'm like just talking about what's going to happen all the time. I think it's cool to inform people, but like in my day to day, like I'm not really bringing that shit up. I'm really just like learning a new language, keeping my body in shape, studying shit. Is anything I can study actually that I can actually apply and put my hands on? If I can't, then I don't, you know, not really any point in talking about it. But that shit's not cool though, bro. If I came on here and was like, yo, look, what y'all know about HVAC
yeah.
systems? What y'all know, you know what I'm saying? No
Yeah,
one, ain't nobody listening. Yeah. Turn this live
you
off.
trying to help us out? Nah, we good. We good.
Yeah. Yo, what y'all know about desalination systems? What y'all know about hand well drilling? What y'all know about that? People be like, look, I didn't come here for that. I didn't want to be empowered. I just wanted you to tell me some
Yeah.
spooky shit.
No, they gonna be like, bro, you trying to really help me out when the end times happen? Nah, that's not serving me right now. Turn this
Yeah,
off. Turn this off. But not for real.
they turn you
I
in.
feel like this, even in itself, like you said, like when yeah, there might be a new conspiracy out. And it's like, bro, I don't even care about that. You know, like what is that doing right now? But like you said, I think that just like you said, I think it's just a way to distract them from them, you know, from everyday life of what they're not doing. It's just another way to distract themselves.
Yeah, they played it real crazily when I think about it. Like, man, this was slick. The Mockingbird media, they played it to where people engage with the
Now
conspiracy
they're
themselves and like,
loving it now.
yeah, it's like, yo, let's turn the entertainment into their everyday life to where now they they legitimize, you know, what we selling as far as entertainment. Like we turning everyday problems into the new entertainment now. It kind of always was in some ways, but it was just like kind of far out. You know, you watch a movie maybe about some kids and you come from rags to riches or whatever. You know what I mean? But now it's like now your life is the conspiracy. You know what I mean? And now everybody's reports an echo chamber of people reporting it and their different findings of it. And I think that like they really the way they fucking the crossover that they made to make it to where people are living the conspiracy theory like it's a movie. It's like Last Action Hero when the dude went into the movie. You know what I mean? Like that's what it's like. People are like, yo, yeah, we in the conspiracy. Like it's like when COVID happened, they're like, we got the mask on. Look, we're in the fucking quarantine movie. Look at that. Like
Oh yeah, the Contagion movie. Contagion, remember?
it's like yeah, it's like Pokemon Go.
Oh,
Like everybody's in Pokemon Go. They're like in an augmented reality where you don't even really see each other. We kind of like operating from like the perception of reality and our projections of reality. And so now it's everybody's in Pokemon Go. I feel like
What
you know what I mean, trying to get shit that's not there.
what did I just say to you yesterday? I said we in surrogates already. Bruce Willis. Like
Oh
I
yeah,
said, bro, we already in there.
yeah. Somebody sent me some shit the other day. You know what I mean? Because I have people be dumping a bunch of information my way, and that's like the same way I guess. Like when you get to a really large platform, people, whistleblowers and everybody, they come to you with stuff. But I always just get like basic shit because I'm fucking underground, and I'm beneath the underground, and so I'm in Hades.
Yeah,
So like,
bro.
fucking, they somebody sent me like a packet of things that I guess they send to everybody. I just like skimmed over it, and I was like, because like, and they're just talking about how, yeah, people, because you can store. They're saying like you can store more data in blood than you could in a server, and that humans is just servers, and like the boot uploader for I guess the next grid system, and like how people just becoming zombies, and what 5G does to, because they're saying like the phones don't have new antennas,
Mm.
and the towers aren't really hitting the phones with anything new. It's like it's just hitting the overall environment, like pulsing the overall environment. And they were saying like it makes like everything go in loops. Like they put I guess a 5G signal around some
I
ants or some shit,
think I saw that.
and
Yeah, yeah, I
yeah, and
saw that.
they kept going
Maybe
in
you sent me it.
circles.
I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, if that, I mean, I guess that's kind of what all the humming is probably doing, just making people just stay in a fucking
The,
static
yeah, I mean,
state.
that's what. Did you see Akira? Have you ever seen the movie Akira?
I don't
No.
think so.
That's literally, well, it's the same concept, but basically about how like kids are used to create those loops and the 5G and all that stuff, like an empty template in a sense. The brain. You heard that theory before though, right? Like how they,
Kind of like that.
but
Yeah, it's kind of like that movie, the city of the lost children.
yeah, City of the Lost Show. Same thing. It's the same concept. Is how the kids' minds are used because they're blank slates to create, other dimensions and loopholes and all that stuff. But it's the same thing with the 5G.
And then there's like a mad scientist just
Yes.
farming their youth
Yeah.
so they can
Yeah.
stay young. It's like, because like what was that? It was like an old wives' tale. They're talking about like it's like two people. The one of them asked for eternal life, and one of them asked for eternal
Mm,
youth.
I do remember
Because
that. Yeah.
the first person's like, yeah, I just want to live
Yeah.
forever, and it's like, but you're gonna be
Yeah.
old and rotten. And then it's like one motherfucker was like, I want to be young forever, and that's kind of like I guess where it's at. You know what I mean? I wonder if there's just a 7,000 year old vampire, just young as shit looking,
Yeah.
like that one. Like that one movie with the little girl, right? They thought she was a kid and they adopted her, but she
Oh,
was.
you talking about that new movie that just came out?
Uh, hey, I only seen the trailer. I never seen the
Yeah, I seen the
movie.
trailer too.
Yeah, like some shit like that. I don't know.
How they be coming up with, but I mean, it's all relevant to the times. They know what they're doing by putting.
Yeah,
It is relevant to, if you're thinking like that. That is relevant
yeah,
to the times. Because I be thinking, I'm like, does this
yeah.
movie have anything to do with? And then you go, oh, like when I think about like all the, what pattern of movies that I was like breaking down. Like think about like they went Inception, Interstellar, Tenant, that TV Dark, like all shows with the pattern of looping. Looper, the movie Looper, like every movie from like 2010 to 2020 was just about looping. If you think about it,
Yeah,
or some concept of a loop.
yeah. I mean, it's so many, you just named like six
True.
Christopher Nolan movies too.
That,
He just loves that shit.
yeah, but you know what I'm saying. That was just like, but they was pushing it the most though. Just patterns of movies just looping, and I think about that is the theme for the time, and I think 2019 was the start of the loop, right? COVID in a sense was this kind of probably the start of the loop. The next one, or yeah, and then look,
Yeah,
and like Kaden said, like now everything's about the multiverses. They just told you things were about to loop, right? They told you things were about to loop with the 2010, and now we're in 2020, and they're like, "Yo, multiverses." There's everything everywhere all at once. You got every Marvel movie's about the multiverse now. I'm trying to think.
yeah.
Doctor
Doctor Strange, right?
Strange. Like I said, everything
Yeah,
everywhere. All at Once. Um, yeah, all the movies. Like I said, I think there's a theme for each 10 years. They just tell you the theme of what's about to come. I guess.
On a mundane level, I heard that September 3rd, which I think is the new moon, in Virgo, I think too, they're gonna have the Twitter drop on all the
Oh, for
files.
real?
Cause yeah, cause like for all the people doing censorship and everything, like uh, and when because Musk moved Twitter from San Francisco to Texas this last month, like officially the headquarters is Texas now. So they're saying like now they have precedent based on the way, I guess Trump was treated or whatever, that the Attorney General of Texas can now like, get subpoenas, the subpoena power to get all the files, the Twitter files, like that ever exist or whatever. So like they're saying they, it'll be a big drop on the third, and that Elon Musk basically moved to Texas. I mean, also for the tax breaks, I think, but on top of that was just so that he could get himself subpoenaed, so that he could, say like, well, they forcing me to divulge the information. So then like they would drop the, all the people, all of the internal shit. It wasn't just the Twitter shit. It was like everybody's associated emails with the Twitter. They get the subpoena power over them emails. So I don't know. That's why I heard on the third that this shit's gonna be crazy as far as you them showing who, the collusion of, the government against the people and the censorship, and whatever they do, is if you got everybody's DMs and emails, you know what I mean? I don't know, but either way, I think September 3rd makes sense for like probably what
What
the next shift is,
what
because Mercury retrograde gonna end like at the end of August,
do you know what day
and
that
then
is? What is that?
I don't know. I don't know
I,
the day of the week it is. I think it's the day after Labor Day. I
so
think.
Tuesday? Is that Tuesday?
I think.
Yeah, that'd be a
I
Tuesday.
think it might be the day after.
Yeah.
I think it's the
Wait,
day after Labor Day. I'm not
of
sure.
days. You know who I was watching? Do you watch? You ever watch it?
Oh, no, yeah, because they're doing it on time because Congress is in summer session, the
Mm-hmm.
break, so they would get back that day. So I don't know, but it sounds like a good story. You know what I mean? I think either
I
way,
mean, at this,
something's probably gonna happen. Once we get out of this retrograde, it's like nostalgia period that we in. We're gonna be probably heading right back into the shit that we was careening towards, which is like at that point, then we 60 days from the election, and it's gonna be a
I
bunch of
think.
fuckery. I think.
Wait, speaking of the nostalgia, and I want to go back off of what Caden said, is that like going back to the 2010s, like we had the loop, right? Like the loop concept. Then we have the multiverses concept. And I didn't see the Marvel movie, the Deadpool versus Wolverine, but you talked about nostalgia. But I know you've been seeing the reel that they're just doing the Backstreet Boys. Like, have you noticed that like all the music and the themes and the concept, everything is just from the '90s again? It's like we can't even progress forward now. It's just how
Yeah,
are we even supposed to?
yeah.
I'm like, yo, can we just get out of the? Can we please get to the next?
It's the nepotism, man. Like, people just giving their kids jobs. I mean, Bronny got a job.
Yeah, no, you're
You know what I'm saying? I think he's good at basketball, but come on, bro. You got a heart problem and you're not that good. It's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, and your body isn't that crazy. You don't have
yeah,
LeBron's body. I mean, LeBron's body, you know what I mean? Where you be like, all right, do 6'8", 6'9". This is like, yeah, he's moving this well. We could find a place for him. Bronny is like this guy, and I mean, it's mad 6'4" dudes, 6'3" dudes. And I mean, I don't. So that's just like, minor. I don't really care, whatever. He get his money. Basketball kind of don't matter. But like, as far as like, as far as like the nepotism is like, you got people in positions, you know what I mean? You got the Yaphethites, posing as Shemites. They always appointing themselves and their kids over and over again. And then so like they reach, it's just like Seth
oh
Rogen.
man,
You know what I mean? Seth Rogen comes onto the scene. Never was funny a day in his life, but now we know
he,
him because Pineapple Express. Where I mean, where he's probably the least funniest guy on the movie.
easily.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, but everybody knows he exists now. Now he's the executive producer of The
Yep.
Boys. This guy just around. This guy just around, and you see where he inserts,
Invincible.
and you see you see where he inserts
Yeah.
himself. Like you see the black dude from the boys is always wearing a rapper shirt from the 90s. It'd be like Naughty by Nature, or say a Wu-Tang shirt, or it'd be like the Crime. It'd be like everything that he
Yeah.
liked. This dude's wearing that shirt every episode of the boys. And I'm like, yeah, maybe that guy just he'll easily agree with it. Maybe he liked it
Yeah.
too. But I still think that like you're putting people in positions based off of nepotism instead of off of merit. So now, like now that it's like all contrived and forced. So they're not going to make anything new. They just was exposed to like kind of like assembly line production instead of like real abstract production. And so I feel like there's no choice but to repeat because like what Seth Rogen say he has a kid or whoever, James Franco, whatever, you know
I
what I
forgot all
mean?
about James.
Say,
Damn.
yeah, say they have a kid and then so their kid is just like James Franco's brother was
Mm-hmm.
in 21 Jump Street, 20, I mean,
Yeah.
in 22 Jump Street. Like it's just nepotism. So then like they were like, yo, this is what we like. This is what people told us was cool when we was young. We didn't never make nothing cool. They told us this was cool. So then now they tell their kids like, yo, this is what's cool. And they're not promoting them to make things that are innovative and cool or whatever. So they're never going to make anything new. You know what I mean? And they're just going to keep pointing their children to places. And it's just going to always be that way, I think. You know what I mean? As far as they're based on the trend, based on the way the trend is going, you know what I'm saying? I think it's crazy. Because like I look at Shador Sanders, I'm
I
like, if you wasn't Deion's son,
was.
you just another
Yeah.
guy.
He's nothing
I,
special either.
I don't think he's a bum, but
Yeah.
I'm like,
No.
it's
Yeah.
mad, dude, it's mad guys that if they was around, if they grew up getting trained by the people that you had access to, they're gonna be at least as good as you or better. You know what I mean? There's plenty of dudes that age and that size right now that's better or equal to where it's like this isn't his name just happens to be Sanders. You know what I mean? I mean, you still got to do the work. Like as much as I think Tom Brady is a fucking bum, I think that he still put the work in. Ultimately, like he still got to meet motherfuckers halfway and throw the ball and read the coverage and everything. It's still, they take care of the rest. We'll surround you with Randy Moss
Yeah.
and the best defense and the best coach and the refs and the refs
And the
too.
rest.
And I mean, so I think that that's kind of like the way it is. Like it's still going to be up to them to at least to make it look like
Mm-hmm.
riggable. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like same thing with the election.
Yeah.
Same thing with the election.
Hey,
Like
let me hold on
they,
to that point. Let me ask a question then, so you can explain on this too. What and people in the chat, what do you think it is about? Things are rigged, right? Like this is why I want to stop you because things are rigged, right? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if Kamala wins or if Trump wins. You already know they work for the same people, right? You already know all this. But what is it about like conspiracies? The conspiracies might not be the true or false, but what is it about wanting it to be real? Because you do care at the end of the day, right? You still want to have an opinion, you still want to voice it. Like you wouldn't care if you didn't talk about this, right? You don't care if you don't talk about it. So what is it about, like, you still want to be in depth and knowledgeable about these subjects, even though at the end of the day it could be rigged and you already know the outcome? What is it about that?
I think it's more so like I wish I could go back in time and tell 8-year-old me like, yo, all sports is rigged. You might as well just do like mixed martial arts and like learn how to fucking build a house
That's,
because this is doesn't make any and
yeah.
grow food. You're wasting your
Yeah.
time. You're wasting your time. So like that's what I wish. That's kind of what the way I feel about it. You know what I mean? So maybe if anybody has a kid that age, or if and maybe some youthful kid, a youthful person, gets the gist of what I'm saying, and they pick up what I'm putting down, and then they maybe can reprioritize their life and actually have some substance and some willpower in their own life, and not be just subject to what other people's definitions are. Then I think that would be cool. You know what I mean? As long as I still have an ability to talk, even if it's only a small amount of people, I feel like maybe one of them, because like if I go on and I didn't reach nobody, then it's like you know what I mean. I guess and I had the opportunity to, then it's like it's really a failure. But if I don't have the opportunity, if I'm completely cut off, which I feel like I'm coming to that point, I'm almost there basically, then I don't have to worry about it no more. But as long as it's there, I guess I might as well say something. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's just enough years that I can recall. It's like when I talk to people about music or sports or anything, I'm like, you came in at a time where you don't, or you didn't do enough history.
Mhm.
You look at like, that's why I say Shador Sanders is not special because you look at like Dennis Dixon. Dennis Dixon is better than Shador Sanders. Any day of the week, Dennis Dixon was the Heisman Trophy front runner, but they gave it to Tim Tebow. You know what I mean? Like, it's mad people like that. The dude Brad Smith, that used to play for Missouri, he just as good, if not better, than Shador Sanders. Where he ended up going, they was like, okay, you be a receiver for the Jets. Dennis Dixon, you can be a backup for Ben Roethlisberger. You're better than Ben Roethlisberger. Now you got to be a backup. You know what I mean? Like, and your mind has to like conform to like altered
Yeah.
reality. And I feel like so many people are going through that in their life where they like, they're at mid management and they're better than the manager or whatever it is, and
Yeah, but
so I
you
think,
think though,
yeah.
like if you were to ever, let's say you did go pro right out of high school, right, or you went to college, do you think you wouldn't be here though? Like you would never. I'm not gonna say never, but you wouldn't have this knowledge you have right now. It's the same thing with a lot of people. Like, would you wouldn't have been going down this path. So it's like
Yeah, I would have got injured. I would have been out. I would have been injured. I would have never, I don't think I would have made it anyway. Like, or if I made it, I'd have got injured. That's what I think. Because I didn't have like, I had like what it was asking from me. I wasn't willing to give it up, so I wasn't going to get the fruits of that. So I mean, that's just that simple. As much as like I say, if I'd have stepped left instead of right, then everything would have went sweet. It would have just eventually led to like a harder autocorrect. I feel like, you know what I mean? Because I was really sick, man. Like like mentally in all ways, I was really sick. Physically, I was coming to realize how sick I was. So if I was to be told that I was doing the correct thing, if I was that was getting reinforced and I was going in the wrong direction, then yeah, it wouldn't have mattered how much money I made or whatever. I'd have been like the dude Jacoby Jones from the Ravens, the dude that won the Super Bowl in 2012. Um, he just died. He's 40 years old, and like you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. I just feel like something would have happened like that, where it's like, or you'd be like the dude. Was it McKnight, the running back from USC that played for the Saints? I think he got killed in a fucking road rage incident. Um, so I think that like, yeah, I might have got some things, some notoriety or whatever, but like, I was just carrying on being sick, like, and being reinforced. Like, yeah, this is all good because I'm getting money, and people tell me they like me.
yeah, that's what I said. You wouldn't have been here.
Yeah, and I mean, or what I'm saying, it just would have been. I'd have got to the same place, but maybe just in a more broken way.
And then
It'd have been way a harder fall.
and that's what you see. I feel like that's what you see what happens with these athletes now when they start to come down and then they get that knowledge, they kind of go crazy a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sick in all ways, man. I was sick in all ways. Like my thought patterns were sick. My body was sick. You know what I mean? I was aging really fast, and um, I was needing coffee. You know what I mean? I didn't have no natural energy to play football. When I look at some people, I'd be like, man, you was supposed to do this. I don't give a fuck enough about getting better at this to play at the NFL level or to last in the NFL. Like I could have got there maybe, but to last, to stay in it, oh man, I didn't. I think at some level, like my self esteem wasn't that low, and in some respects to where I was like, it's okay enough for myself to be like, fuck this. You know what I mean? Like I was sick still, but I feel like when I see other people, I'm like, damn, you really got your head down, and you just like plowing through a brick wall right now. And you might get through it, but you're gonna take some fucking losses. Like you know what I mean? You're going because you're not paying attention to the damage. You know what I mean? I think that again, it's just like it gave me time, like getting away from football gave me time to like really just see like how bothered by intimacy I really am, and then just how much anger I had. You ever see Jesse Lee Peterson?
No, I don't think so.
He did an interview with Charleston White like a year ago, I think.
Mm.
But
Oh,
he
Jason Lee. Oh, yeah, yeah,
Jesse
yeah. I
Lee,
did see that. Uh,
Jesse Lee, the old black dude. He's like 72 from
no, I thought you
Alabama.
said Jason Lee. I did watch that interview.
Yeah, he be always saying that, like, people come on the show and he be just keeping it really basic, and mad people I think don't understand him because he be like, "Yo, there's no way that you can be angry." He's like, he's like, do you consider yourself an emotional man? And people be like, "Yeah, I'm emotional." He'd be like, "Well, that's evil, right?" He's like, "If you're angry, then that's evil." He's like, "There's no space for love with anger," and he'd just be saying like the very basic stuff. He's like, "You got that from your mom, didn't
Yeah,
you?" And then they just get mad as
they
fuck. They get mad as fuck. You know what I mean? Because honestly, I did have a dad in the house. My dad really rarely ever got angry, and I think my mom just was always like wanting to get him to react in an emotional way, and he never did. He never would. And then so me being um, pushed by a mom like that, and my dad not being totally like a man to the fullest, where he would be like just asserting his will in the non-emotional way. You know what I mean? That my mom was able to run roughshod over the kids. So where we would think like, oh, he's not responding emotionally, he's not being a man, he's not being
Mhm.
in charge. When really he was actually taking the most care. You know what I mean? He wasn't perfect, obviously, but he was being more of a man than like some people didn't have no dad. So I had an example enough to know like, yo, never respond emotionally. Never give them what they want ever. Never give them that. You know what I mean? Because that's not natural to you. So you're gonna lose yourself, and then you're supposed to be the leader. So now what? So I think my dad was passive, which I think was womanly or
Yeah,
feminine, not womanly, feminine. You know what I mean? I feel like that was the thing I didn't really like. He had like passive actions that he had, but he never was like emotionally charged in you know, his approach to people. And I'm just glad that I got to see it. It wasn't maybe the best exhibition of it, but I got to see it to where what I mean, I see like, wow, like, you know, people be possessed and they be charged up from their mom responding emotionally, and then there's no man to check them. My mom and my dad didn't match, so my dad could never really check her. Like he never really could. He could just continue on being himself. You know what I mean? Which was, I guess, enough, just enough for me to see like eventually after 30 years where I was like, okay, this is what a natural man's response would be. But now, as far as like, I'm not going to engage with you out of anger and emotion. I'm just going to assert my will and be direct. Whereas my dad, he wouldn't engage, but he wouldn't be direct. So he had half the recipe. He had half of it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think that, yeah, it gave me a chance to see like how much, quitting football gave me a chance to see like how much anger I really had in me, and like, um, dysfunction in general. You know what I mean? Because I was just an athlete, people would just let me get
yeah,
over. You know what I mean? I could just do shit. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I wouldn't clean my room or whatever, but then like I'll go out and have a good game, and then nobody would say anything about me not cleaning my room or whatever. They wouldn't be tripping about that. They would be like, "You did your thing." You know what I mean? You didn't. So little shit just added up to where I was like, man, if I get to the NFL, I'm not cleaning my room right. What the fuck you think's gonna happen when I get to the league?
yeah.
You know
You
what I
got
mean?
three
And
mamas.
yeah, it's not like my mom didn't bitch about
Yeah.
it. It's just that like that shit would get, like I could see that performance would make all of that like subdued
Mhm.
to where it would be like, whatever. Look what I just did physically. And I think that made me respond to life in that way, to where I was just like making the ends meet in a physical way, instead of like putting the wires together physically, instead of like really using like my mind strength. And and then so I was forcing it a lot of the times, and that involved a lot of anger to fuel that. Like it's like this chord just don't reach. I'm gonna make this shit reach. So that's like how I would do everything in my life was like that. And and now I'm at a point where like my body is, it's not breaking down like it's like I'm gonna be dead tomorrow, but it's not what it was. You know what I mean? So I think that that in combination with me stopping football for periods of time and having um, some internal investigations on, that allowed me to see like, it's a lot of
Yeah.
anger in my body. It's a lot of fear and anger in my body. So there's no way God can live in there, or creator, the originator, whatever. It can't. There's no space for that in me. I'm void of that in a lot of ways. A lot of junctures in my life, I'm not operating with that inside of me really like it could be. So I wasn't able to really be intimate because everything, I'm just forcing my way through everything. I'm just like emotionally pushing through everything. Seeing like, I'm not seeing shit for what it is. So then, yeah, I think, I don't know. And then on top of it, I felt like my autonomy was kind of robbed of me. I was doing shit I didn't want to do. So I was like, I kind of was like, well, then I can make life do shit that it don't want to do. You know what I mean? Life was not cooperating, so I was like, "Well, I'll make you do
Yeah.
it then, life."
Well, then
You know?
that gets me to the next question. Like, so you're playing football right now, and we just talked about last live. We talked about how you knew you were gonna play football, and you knew you were gonna loop back into playing this football, and you're gonna be happy. You're gonna be present in it. You're not necessarily happy you're doing it. So, what's your mentality right now towards football? Towards what's going to come next after football, like what is your mentality right now? Because like I said last time, you did the thing where you were proud of, like, hey, listen, there's only X amount of people who are doing this right now, but at the same time you didn't really want to be back here. So it's like, what is the mentality right now, and then after, and
It's
then
not.
moving forward when you're done?
I mean, it's a nice way to investigate even, further. Um, my tendency to just make shit happen. It's like I looked at it like, man, if I really wanted to go somewhere, then I would just make it happen. If I ever really wanted to do something, I would just make it happen. And so, like playing football was kind of like my avenue to kind of force things. Like I could travel to places and live in places that I probably wasn't supposed to be in and stuff like that. And because I could like manually do it, like on a physical level, like on an animal will. And like, so, I looked at it like, going to Brazil itself was kind of like a prize in itself. In different places in the world, I always was like, these is like prizes, you know what I mean? That like I can like tell myself and show others that I've done and everything. And maybe they can open me up because at the same time, at different points in my life, I'm like, maybe I'll go somewhere, I'll meet somebody that can save me from
Yeah.
myself. And so I'll be like that. I'll be like, I go, somebody can just interrupt my life and be like, look, I know you was suffering. Let me
Nah,
take you out.
no, on yourself. This is how you snitch on yourself, because one of the first questions I asked on the live was, yo, when people follow you, right, they can't help you. So that's what you're doing, to look for somebody else. You're like, maybe football will take me to help find somebody. That's funny though. That's how you snitch on yourself. You funny.
Well, I mean, at this point, it's kind of like, after going through the rigmarole so many times, like so many cycles of like, I'm in Germany for 6 months or wherever, I'm here for 6 months. And then I get into a relationship with a bitch, and then the bitch trying to be with me forever. And I'm like, I already knew I was leaving. I was never going to learn your
You set it
language.
up before. You already knew this was going to happen.
Yeah, it gave me an
Yeah, you
exit
already
strategy. You know what I mean? I'm exiting as I'm entering.
know.
I'm not
That's
even
well.
looking at it
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
yeah.
Mentality though. So okay, if you already know you're leaving before you come, like, all right. So you said football. You might be back home in October. Like, are you living in October right now, or are you right here in August right now? Like, where are you at right now?
I mean, I got a game this week. I come back to this right now. It's easy to come back to this right now because I gotta protect myself.
True.
Because I don't want to. No matter what happens, I don't want injuries.
Mm-hmm.
I've experienced too many. You know what I mean? I tore my quad. Partially tore my hip I broke my leg before. I broke both my thumbs. I fucking uh, got a hairline fracture in a rib before. I fucking hairline fracture in my foot before. I hyperextended my toe. That's the worst injury of all of them, though. The
I remember.
toe, worst
Yeah, I
one.
remember the oh,
Um, my arm and my shoulder. I could probably play football for like 6 more years at a decent level, but like um, I can feel like playing football. Ultimately is a violent, and even if you play quarterback, is a violent thing. Like throwing the ball is violence. The way I'm throwing it is violent on my elbow and shoulder, and so like I feel like um, I have to stay here now to prevent my body from getting caught up in the meat grinder.
yeah,
I think that's like the main thing. Drive. Sometimes I try to drift off. Like, man, I'm gonna see my dogs again. I'm like, well, I don't want to be on
yeah.
crutches, so I don't want to be. I don't want to be. I want to be all in one piece or a little nicked up. But I can't take no. I can't take no real blows. So I still be doing my work. Like I'm just watching my film. I'm gonna take care of my body. I'm be in the gym most days, and I'm gonna be out here throwing the ball so I can stay sharp so that I can. I'm not going to sabotage myself just because I feel like, I'm going to just ride it out as much as I can because I just don't want to be injured. You know what I mean? As much as I hate losing and winning is like, it's not really a burst. It's like more so like, okay, all right, now on to the next threat of a loss. Let me go to that. Let me go into that fear kind of. I don't really care about winning as much as I hate losing. So like, I stay in that. That's what keeps me, I feel like, here is like the recognition of like I got to take care of my body because I've suffered bodily injuries and I don't want that. I don't want nothing to linger. You take an injury, them shits linger for years, man. I got some injuries that like nothing. The shit is just not in balance. It's not balanced. My leg is still kind of not in balance. Like that shit happened when I was 16. Broke my leg playing football, and it's still not quite balanced. Like the bands in my leg, all the tendons and ligaments, all in my leg is still not what my right leg is. And then like I partially tore my right quad, so it fucked up my right knee a little bit to where I look at my left knee and I'm like, this shit is in better shape than the right one. It's not, you know what I mean? So I'd be like, man, I need like a couple years of just recalibrating and not trying to build on broken foundation. You know what I mean? Because I'm always like working out and trying to get stronger, but the little sinews in my body, the little tissues and shit, they're stressed. They're really stressed. Like different parts of them is really stressed. I gotta compensate and make other areas around them strong to try to protect them from injury. But it's only so long you can do that, I think. You know what I mean? And I feel like, yeah, I'm at the. I could keep going, but I don't like on a physical level. Like objectively, somebody say you play football. I'm like, yeah, I could play football, but I don't think that societally I could play football. I don't think that we're gonna be able to travel like that in a minute here, and I don't. I just don't think I emotionally I could do it for much longer. And so I say all of that shit to say that coming to Brazil was like, do I really want to go to Brazil? Because if I did, I would just get a ticket and go have a vacation. And see what I'm saying? If I just wanted to go to Brazil, but so I wanted to. I have some part of me did want to play football, and then to like kind of burn just to make it to where it's over. Like this is done. You know what I mean? And I don't want to be like Larry Holmes at the end, still trying to fight when it's over. And I think so. A part of me still wanted to, but then there's also that part of me that's just like, I want to get away. I want to see something new. Maybe I meet somebody that can
Mhm.
show me a different part of me. Maybe I can meet a whole network of people, and then I stay and keep my football resume going. So I think that was like the logic behind going to continuing to play.
But then, like we said, though, months prior, because we did a live before, and it was like you already knew. You already knew you were gonna play football. You were in hopes, and I'm excited to see where your headspace is gonna be. Maybe you go back to the comedy. Maybe you go back to comedy when you get back.
Yeah,
Um,
I was. Yeah, I was talking to one of my teammates teammates about it because he watched one of my things. One of the teammates lived in California, went to school, so he speaks good English. He was like, I seen your stand up. And he was like, yo, that's your first time? That's crazy. And I was like, yeah, man. And I started talking to him about it, and I started recognizing like how excited I am
Yeah,
about the art of the process of comedy.
that was the
And that's
time
why,
you've been
yeah,
excited, honestly. As of late, like that was probably like you
yeah.
hype.
I called my brother last night where he wasn't really sipping or nothing. He had some, he was not, he could give me some presents. He wasn't like in some other thing that he was doing. So like we start talking about like the project we want to put together, and I was like, yo, we should definitely do that. It's gonna take a little while, but we should definitely do that. And it really, I feel like once I see something, that's what I mean. Like if I can put my will behind something, then I'm gonna get it done. It's just that it's hard with trust issues to put my energy behind anything because I feel like I am a generator. You know what I mean? That they what is this shit called? The human design is I'm a generator. So I'll be having the fucking energy, and I'll be like, wait though, I can't just be giving this out. And so I talked to my brother about this shit because he had this idea, and I was like, yo, if we do it like this though, we can really get that done. And then it was like, all right, cool. I'm going through what I'm going through now, and I just can brainstorm. And then when I get there, I hit the ground running. And so that was cool. I think that we'll have a bunch of content for the end of the fall. But yeah, man. Like as far as right now, it's really retrograded as fuck right now. I feel like.
Crazy right now. But that actually goes into one thing because I'm messaging that you did that live when you was back home, and I was like, yo, I don't know how you did that. You got to talk to me about that process of like, just for like viewers and everybody, just to like, how did you come to a place where, you can go live, people drinking in the back, and you're just like, it don't phase you no more. Like, how does that not get you? Look, because that's crazy. Because like I'm telling you, I come from the same type of family, and I'm like, here they, like the fact that you didn't even go like, here they go again. You know what I mean? Like none of that came out. You're just like, that's why I don't drink. Like, how do you get to that place where you can kind of just forgive and separate and not get angry, not get, you know what I mean? Because that can be very, when you come back around that, you're like, damn, y'all still doing the same. So how did you? I don't even know how you got there, or feel comfortable, or maybe you're not.
Yeah, I
I don't
mean,
know.
I mean, it's. I think that you feel their discomfort with themselves, man. They're really in an emotional place. Anybody getting high and drinking is really, the emotionally is really sensitive. So I'd be like, I don't want to, I don't. If you was to die today, I don't want us to be arguing. You know what I mean? I guess that's the paramount. But then after that, it's like I just know that they're really on pins and needles. You know what I mean? Like they're really in a flux space when they're drunk or high or getting drunk or high. So I'd be like, I'm not gonna let this shit snowball. If I'm gonna have some will in here, I'm not gonna give up my will and my energy to this because I'm not gonna let them take it where they want to get emotional and exhaust. It's not really them that wants to exhaust their emotional energy. So I'm like, I don't want to feed that dog in them. So I just be focused on kind of trying to feed the real them, but then like that dog start to get starving and start to really start growling and really start, taking over. And then so you just gotta let them talk, and you can't rub them the wrong way. You gotta. It's like I've done. I feel like it's really chess with that one. I feel like because you go like I'll respond back on some belligerent shit if they come at me like that, and then you see where that takes you, and you're like, that can't work. I can't do it like that. Then if you get too meek, then they try to railroad you, and then then they just think that then they don't respect the meekness. They don't respect gentleness. They think that that's just weakness, and so you got to be assertive, but not aggressive at the same time.
That's
And
what I'm
then
saying.
like you
Even
can't, yeah,
I don't even like just you breaking it down. I'm like replaying a scenario in my head right now where you already know they want to talk about the one thing, and it's like you're dodging it the whole time. So you're like, all right, like you said, like I'm gonna be quiet, and then you go, oh, you don't, oh, you just gonna be quiet, you know?
yeah,
Oh, so you
exactly.
think you better than me, huh? That
Yeah,
line always
that's
comes
yeah.
out too, though. Oh, you think you better than me?
Oh yeah, you know everything. That's what they always say.
Oh,
They
you
be,
think
oh,
you know?
you know everything, you know everything, right? And I was like, man, hell no, I don't know everything. That's why, you know what I mean? That's why I feel like I'm in this spot, you know what I mean, where I'm not drinking and smoking because I want to know more shit. And like, I feel like people drinking and smoking is like, I don't want to know no more.
Mhm.
At least right now, I won't stop that. Stop. I don't want to know anymore.
Right.
Like, because I never really learned nothing from drinking and smoking. I just was able to
Yeah,
kind of stop
you stop it.
and then look and reflect on what I already learned. It wasn't like drinking and smoking made me learn anything. It just like it stopped all progression, and then I was in a reflective state.
Mhm.
And you know, and maybe I could like through my reflection, I can see, like, oh man, I learned some shit on the way when I think about it, but it was never that the alcohol was the catalyst for learning, or the weed was ever a catalyst for learning. And so I think people have no choice but to take it personal because it's a very personal choice to hurt yourself, you know, for one reason or another,
That
you know.
Yeah, I was thinking about that because every time, and you know, what's the funny part too is every time somebody stops smoking weed for a while, they're like, "Man, the dream's coming back. They telling me something," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's everything." You know what I mean? And then you try, and then you break it back down to them, like what their dreams meant. Then they go, "Ah, man, I might have to start smoking again." It's like, damn, man. You know what I mean? You got them for like that minute.
Yeah.
You got them for that minute, and then it's like, "Ah, no, I'm good off that."
I mean, it's times I can tell when I'm on the rope myself, not like, I feel like if I entertain certain thoughts in my head, like just in general, man, it'll distract me into another distraction. Then I forget where I
Yeah,
was even at.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I push off reading and then I, you know, talk to some chick that like I'm attracted to her, but deep down I already know this ain't going. It's a dead end street. You know, not to say that she's not perfect for someone else.
Mhm.
Just saying that I already know where me and her will go. So I feel like just taking my mind away from that to that, then I might see a short or a reel. Then that reel take me into some other. I'm like trying to, then I steering the shit back. I got to go back through the distractions to get back. And so, you know, then time has passed, and then it's like, and then my body, and then you know, because it's like different windows in a day for reading and writing and doing things and working out, whatever you're doing, and then so you know, if you missing the window, you're trying to come back. Now you like behind and you lagging, and so I think that you know, when it comes to just distraction and where it could take you and everything, at certain times I can see like, oh, I'm on the ropes right now. I've been distracting myself for the last hour. Like if I keep this up repetitively, and this becomes a habit at this time of the day, this window of the day is
Yeah.
now this, and I stay behind. I stay behind on the reading or pushing something off. Then I'm eventually this is going to get filled up with desire. You know what I mean? And now I'm going to go into the dream state with that desire, like a pocket of that in me. And so then now my dreams ain't really clear like they would be. And then if you do that for enough days, now I'm like, yeah, maybe I could hit this bitch up. Maybe I could go out to drink. I kind of want to smoke. I think I mean, like that all is more possible. And so I see it because I can't really play myself like I used to. You know, before I'd be like,
You already
you try
know
that.
what you're doing when you're doing it.
Yeah, I could lie to myself a little better. You know what I mean? I wasn't fully myself. I hadn't experienced enough of myself. It's like it's like if you fuck a chick with half your dick, you know what I'm saying? And you get like the whole other half of dick in her, you'd be like, you know what I mean? There's no way, you know, she experienced the whole you now. You know what I'm saying? I've inhabited my whole body, you know what I mean? You know, so now I'm like, I know what it's like when there's lack of presence somewhere and there's lack of pressure and lack of flow in my body. So like I'll be just knowing like this is what it's going to turn into. I might not know every detail down the road, but I know what it's going to take me. And like I be seeing it though. I be on the ropes, like, well, I'm putting myself on the ropes, and it's like, you know, I could easily make this a habit that turns into a personality that turns into fucking with the wrong bitch for 2 years. You know what I mean? And then now I'm smoking weed and drinking.
Because
You know what I mean? Or whatever.
for
I'm
two
doing
years.
it. Huh?
Because he went the
Yeah, I'm
2
doing
years. Now it goes
just because
back
I
into
developed a habit for a moon
it goes back
cycle.
into when he was like the that the weight you gain when you in the wrong relationship. We talked about that too. I was like, bro, I gained weight from being in the wrong relationship. It's like, damn, that's
Oh yeah, I get way too comfortable. That's why I stopped having sex. Honestly, I stopped having sex. Y'all. I don't know when I'm gonna do it. I don't put a date
yeah,
on it. You know what I mean? I don't put a date on nothing. I don't because then it just makes it more of a
yeah.
fixation. Like, oh, I'm gonna
We
do it
gonna do it.
again. But like, yeah, like because then it's like getting out of jail or something. I'm gonna get out of jail and I'm gonna murder again. like, you know
Nah,
what I'm saying?
real.
Like what?
That's funny.
Like what? Yeah. Like, so I think that yeah. Now I'm like, because the sex turns into my body being way more relaxed than it even is supposed to be deserving. I don't. I haven't earned that. I haven't. I'm not squared away. I'm not squared away. Or yeah, you know what I mean? And my body is like, oh, we must be squared away. We having sex. We must be able to have a baby. So then my body is all comfortable and shit, and it shouldn't be. It don't even deserve it. So like now I'm like,
Aaron.
yeah. So then the chick, she got more energy flowing through her than she should have because I'm giving that. So now she's more like relaxed and feeling like I got this energy to burn. So now you get into shit you shouldn't be getting into. Now you eventually let's go out to eat.
Yep.
Let's do this. Let's watch a
Let's watch a
movie.
movie. Let's
You know what I mean? Let's eat this while we watch a movie. Let's do that two nights out the week. And then that turns into some habit. And then it turns y'all become like a joint personality. And then now it's like you get loyal to the joint personality. And then now you like a backseat driver in your own life. And the body's just way too
on
relaxed. And then you
autopilot.
get so then now you mad comfortable, you eating shit you shouldn't be eating. And then if you keep that up, you're gonna be drinking and smoking. You're gonna be doing something. There's no way I could be with the right chick and be drinking and smoking. And there's no way that I'll be with the wrong chick and won't eventually revert into some sort of debauchery. Like there's no way. Yeah.
I think about that too. I mean, that kind of leads me into. I wanted to say that because I know you wanted to talk politics and stuff, but I was trying to like sidebar that till the end, because I know we can go.
We can save it.
Uh,
We can save
uh,
it. It's all
one
good.
question I had though too is like, what just talking about drinking, the smoking, the eating. What do you think it is about? I think I asked you this, but just like previous teachers, right? Why is it that they struggled so hard? Like, what do you think it is? Is it because they were like, in a sense, they didn't have a community? I feel like it'd be easier to deal with things if you had a community. Like, because like look at you know people like Dick Gregory. Well, he's got healthy later, but Dick Gregory, your Layla Africa's, your what we say, Bobby Hemmett, Delbert Blair, all those people, they all struggle with something, right? What
Malcolm X even. I feel like at some level. You know
yeah,
what I mean? I feel like he was in better. He had better way more principles than Bobby
yeah,
Hemmett,
yeah,
but I still feel like he struggled like being loyal to the
yeah.
wrong people and stuff like
Like,
that. You know
what
what
do
I
you
mean?
think it is though about going on that path, right? And still sticking to the core principles. Like, where do you think they lose? Even Pharaoh, like when you were talking about Pharaoh, like he was eating things that like what do you eat? Like, what is it? What do you think it is about going down this road? Is it because there's more with this road? There becomes more awareness. Like, you can't trick yourself, so you kind of cope with those things at times. Is that what it is? You think?
I really hate to make it to where it's like an external thing, but I just think that a lot of it is just like there's lack of family.
What is
Um,
the lack of community? Right? It's a lack of community.
yeah, yeah, like they just take what they can
Yeah,
get. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And then I think that's what creates a lot of the problem. I try to have a compassion for that because I mean, even when you look at like the black leaders, like whether it be Dr. Africa or whatever, like they just getting all sorts of black people. It's not like they like. It's not like the black people are already sorted in their tribes or bloodlines or whatever, and then he's just talking to their heads, and then he just converses with the elders, and then they exchange, and then the shit gets disseminated through the tribes. he has his own tribe. Everybody identified that they come from this bloodline and this is what they are, you know. So they just taking what they can get. They just getting all types of black people and they just think like this is black. Everybody's black. It's like you look at Black Sam. You're like, dog, you look Hindu. You look at
Look
Nipsey. You
at
like,
me,
yo, you look like half you looking half Hindu over here. You know what I'm saying? That's why y'all motherfuckers was selling fake Jordans and shit like it was air. Like you motherfuckers was like Black Sam was really like a corner store, like a Hindu
yeah,
dude that runs a
that
corner
ran the
store.
course.
Like I don't even feel myself if I'm not selling a fake T-shirt right now. I don't even. I'm not going to be right. And I feel like to just be like these people are just all black people. This is a misnomer, and I feel like this is the problem. You know what I mean? White people, it's also a problem because you look at like you come to Brazil and you see people and they be like, yeah, I'm Portuguese or whatever, and this Portuguese is European, but then you're like, no, y'all speak Portuguese. You Scythians, there's a lot of Scythians here, a lot of fucking Sephardic Jews that speak, your ancestors spoke Portuguese, and now you hear and now you say that you a Catholic Brazilian, and you Portuguese or some shit. Like, nah, your peoples is from East Asia, or from West Asia. I mean, excuse me, your people's from West Asia that they came and took over different parts of Europe, and then eventually bled into the Americas or wherever, however. And so it's such a everybody's like in a fight. You know, you see people and they be like, "Yo, I'm German," or they say like, "I'm Irish" or whatever. And a lot of times you're looking at the same person. You're like, "Yo, y'all
Yeah,
all Scythian. You speak German, you speak English, you speak Portuguese. You're all the same tribe. Y'all just happen to speak this language." And so like you look at black people, they kind of all speak ignorance in a lot of respects. Like in America, a lot of like the greater majority speaks ignorance. Like that's the common language. You know what I mean? Like if you speak in that ignorance, then you pass. You know, because if it's a black person that's speaking studious and they're like, yes, sir, I went to
oh yeah,
Harvard,
so
and then
yeah,
they're not speaking ignorant. If they're not speaking the language of ignorance, then they don't pass. You know what I mean? They still can look at them like, yeah, give them a benefit of the doubt, I think, if they wanted to come in, you know what I mean, to be under this umbrella of ignorance, they would let them in. And oh yeah, you want to be ignorant now? You want to start being ignorant?
that's
We'll
why
let you
Dr.
in.
Umar,
But
Umar, that's why he's in a sense big because he can be ignorant and he's got his whole the snow bunny thing, right? Like he had to do that to get his message even heard. You know what I mean?
yeah, I think he makes a lot
But
of good points. I just think that
like
people, if
that's
he,
funny
yeah,
though.
yeah, yeah. I just feel like he's a Pan African, so I'd be like, oh man, you're
Yeah,
bugging. You probably more American. You probably more American Aboriginal, or even or split down the
original.
middle.
His
Yeah,
people
so it don't
probably
make
from America. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
So it's like, yo, this is self defeating. So like, I just feel like that's a lot of what it is that there's so many different types of people that are supposedly black, you know, quote unquote black, but they're all different tribes. That's why you got like the, who's it, the Fulanis and the other tribe in West Africa, they hate each other. You know what I
Oh yeah.
mean? And it's like, outside looking in, we be like, this is black people, you know what I mean? But they hate each other. So why is that? You know what I mean? Obviously they know something that we're not all from the same lines. So like, um, there's different partitions that come with that. Some people become different faith, more inclined to go into different faiths. Like you see all of Philadelphia got this Muslim influence because they so Moorish.
Yes.
The black people there have their DNA has a big Moorish influence. So like they're more inclined to Islam. You know what I mean? It speaks to them on a genetic level. And so, yeah, Dr. Africa is getting mad black people, but they're not sorted. It's like you getting a bunch of different parts. It's like, yo, I need this though. You know what I mean? And you're not getting, you have to filter through all that to get the shit that you need, and you might not get it. And so I think that shit's exhausting for one. And then for two, I think you just not being recharged like you would be if you had
Yeah.
your people around. It's like an open air prison. Like I talked to Pharaoh about it. I'm like, damn, what's it like, man? You can you can control dreams, manipulate your dreams, manipulate other people's dreams. You can do shit like that. But I know you still kind of being tortured because you don't have your people around you.
Yeah.
Like you're not like insulated on a physical level. with your people, like on like a 3D level. I mean, you know what I mean? So like, I think that that's really a lot of it. You know what I mean? Because you look at it's all phenotypes, man. Like you look at like people that's white in northern Minnesota. A lot of them is what Swedish and Norwegian. You know what I mean? And I feel like they have a common understanding. They got a common preferred temperature, a common pace. You know what I mean? Like they call it Minnesota nice. Like everybody stop at the four-way stop. Everybody be like, you go. You know what I mean? They all operate at the same pace, and they got a certain temperature temperament that they're accustomed to because they're genetics. And so, but you know, but if they got to be around a white person that's from Spain, they'd be like two different
Mm-hmm.
animals. I mean, just because there's a
Yeah,
genetic difference there. And so I think that's the problem, you know, that people don't know who they are. They don't know their tribes, especially black Americans. More than anyone on earth, they don't
yeah,
know.
more than
I
anyone.
think, yeah, and that's the problem. So the rest of the world kind of don't know themselves like they would because the head of the earth don't know. It's like in amnesia.
Yeah,
So the rest of the body's like, who are we? You know what I mean? They don't really. There's nobody to really put the order in place for them to know. Like, oh, this is the head. They're the head. Okay, the head remembered itself. Now we know. Okay, now I'm the arm. I'm the whatever. And like every part's valuable, you know. But so I think that's really why the suffering is happening. I think that's where the suffering. I talked to this one chick I used to fuck with. She was saying, she was like, all substance abuse is just loneliness. And I was like, yeah, it's true. You know what I mean? Like, you get away from yourself, and then yeah, you lonely of yourself. You miss yourself. But if you had like if you're insulated by people in your tribe that's like you, then you could you can more easily be auto corrected, like gently, where you don't have to get drunk and then be like, okay, God, never again. I'm never drinking again. God, I'm sorry. God, please stop. You know what I mean? You don't need to do that. You don't need to get away from yourself to come back. Whereas, like, if you're surrounded by a brotherhood and a sisterhood and y'all like a tribe, then you got that, like, yo, wake the fuck up. What are you doing? You slacking for all of
I
us.
don't,
We're all,
but I don't even know if
you
we can
know,
get to that point because, like you said, going back to that drunk conversation, man. Like even nowadays, I mean, just regularly, you can't have a conversation and tell somebody they're doing something wrong. People just get so upset so quick, respond so emotional nowadays. You can't even correct them gently. Like, yo, I don't think you should be doing that. They'll be like, man, nah, f you. You don't know what's better than
mm.
me. I don't even know how we get to that point.
Yeah, I mean that's why I feel like the reset is imminent, and I don't like to be a Debbie
Like,
Downer, but I just feel like it's
it always
necessary.
goes there. It always ends there. It always ends there.
I just think it's necessary for life to proceed. It's in such a stagnant place. I don't think it's a necessarily objectively. I can't look at it like a bad thing.
Yeah,
I think hell yeah, subjectively, it's gonna be miserable in some ways, but on another level, like on a grand scale, you're like, well, this life needs to move forward, so it can't keep going like this, and something's got to break this
yeah.
up.
I mean, then that can go into our last topic and everything. You know, you can talk about. I know you said the reset is imminent, but I mean, you gotta. But this is the thing, though. You know, in the movies, they show you what it looks like, but they don't talk about, you know, the process of it breaking down and how it just like it doesn't go nowhere, and then it just gets worse somehow. Like think about it. Nothing's
Mhm.
changed. It's just getting worse. Nothing new.
Yeah.
Nothing new is coming out. Nothing new is being produced. It's just things are getting worse and things are getting more expensive and people are going more insane.
Yeah, I guess all you can look at is like other examples of it, like microscopic examples, like Cambodia or um, Iran in the 50s, different places that just collapsed, you know? So I think that if you look at that, then I guess you can kind of see like, oh, this is the process. You get a lot of
Yeah.
propaganda, the currency gets debased, the moral fabric gets eroded, and the energy breaks down. People turn to drugs, human trafficking, and sexual deviance
Yeah.
and sexual
I'd rather,
inversion.
I,
And
listen,
uh,
just like you said, people turning to drugs. Like this is how such a lack of awareness. Like where I live, there's never been a billboard for drug abuse and rehab, and then now all of a sudden there's a billboard for drug abuse and rehab. I'm like, yo, does nobody think this is crazy? That now that we got a billboard, because it's that bad now. Is that bad? But you're not.
yeah, yeah,
We're at a
man.
point where you're not allowed to talk about it though.
No,
That's the
yeah,
stranger part to me is that like you pointing it out and saying, "Yo, things are bad." Everybody gets defensive, like, "Nah, we're good. We're fine." It's like it's okay to admit
yeah,
it.
yeah. I guess the people somewhere they know it's gonna get worse or it could be worse. So they,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like when I used to talk to this one hillbilly on the mountain, and he'd be like, "Oh, you grew up with a nice family," because like he's seen like I I had my mom and my dad had a home, and I was like, yeah, I mean, if you looking at it from like an animal level, like yeah, I had
Yeah.
shelter, but like, and some people don't, so that's terrible. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that I shouldn't be grateful for the shelter, but once you get to shelter, it's not like you're supposed to stop at shelter. Like, yo, this is I've made
Mhm.
it. I made it. Now this is life. I don't have to progress. I don't have to realize myself or you know anything beyond this, like beyond like creature comforts and shelter. So it would be like it's just crazy to me because like you know there's a lot of people like that. They're like, oh, you should just be grateful. You're like, just for shelter? I mean, I get it. I mean, I don't want to seem like I'm taking it for granted, but I'm like, man, like this is such an animal consciousness. Like it's plenty of horses that got like nice stables, but they still live on a farm.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And it's like they can't run and be themselves, and they can't breed when in season and the way they're supposed to, and they don't have no control over none of that, and they have no autonomy. And so, but people, I feel like this just designed to be slaves, or they been breeding with slaves for so long
Mhm.
that now um, you're supposed to just be grateful for that. And that's where we at, like where the standards just so low, where it's like you just be grateful. Be grateful that you got a blunt and some Netflix. And
For
you
real,
know
I
what
was just
I mean?
the standard of just what we're supposed to accept now is just, and then the morality, and once that's low, is I think it's a wrap. And that's what we're seeing right now. I think it's a triple you mentioned in Cambodia. One of the people in Cambodia, they came to me and they were like, um, "We can't have America fall because if America falls, what does that mean for us?" I'm like, "Well, first of all, I'm
Right.
like, well, first of all, it's Cambodia's already. I mean, I don't really know what's about to happen here, so I was just thinking about that. Though. I was like, damn, that's how everybody else is looking at America, even though, like, from in,
It's a place to run.
yeah,
It's a place to run. It's like a life raft,
yeah,
and it's like too many people get on a life raft. It's nobody gets,
and
and that's where we
that's
at.
where we're at. Which then goes
You
back to
know,
the, I mean, I guess Kamala's gonna win now. I guess at this point now,
I mean, Vegas. Last time I checked, Vegas they still had Trump up 50% to 44%, I think, and then like RFK
that's
was 6%, I think,
all about RFK.
or 4% or something RFK, something like that. And I think like maybe like 1% Michelle Obama. But yeah, like it was like 50%. Trump still had the majority in Vegas. So I just look at Vegas, yo. I don't be looking at that's where the money really is as far as like Vegas is paying attention way more than other motherfuckers, because they can't lose. They're not about the house not about to try to lose. You know. So I don't know. I mean, if that changes, then yeah, this shit is definitely shifting. The public perception. But I don't know, man. I don't think that this shit is really working. I see a lot of black people that like, this bitch is not the
Yeah,
same as as she's not like she's not what she says she is, and
yeah, but you see all
she's
those
in office
people.
now.
You see, black people now fighting over whether to vote for her or not vote for her, and it's just like the worst. I think the worst trait of black people is, I mean, this is a great. It's their best trait, like our best trait, and our worst trait is the fact that we always want acceptance from everybody else. You know what I mean? We're always the first to be like, yo, let's get these people, let's let them in, let's let. Meanwhile, they over there screwing you over. You know what I mean? And that's what they're arguing about with Kamala right now. They're like, no, she's black. It's like, whoa, we're such a low level where all they got to do is get Quavo to do a, you know what I mean, get
Yeah.
Quavo and Meg the Stallion,
But
and then we like, oh, she's black. Like
her birth
that's what
certificate,
that's a
her birth certificate says her birth certificate says Caucasian.
that's what I mean. But black
You know
people
what I
just
mean?
need to put a rap song on for us, and we're like, oh, she's lit.
Yeah, it's crazy. And that's what I mean. Like how like you got a large majority or a large sum, not majority, a large sum of the black population in America that is a hybrid, and then that's like Aboriginal and mix of other things. Then you got another large um, portion that is just other things. They're not Aboriginal. They're not from there at all. They ain't got no ties to that land. So there's like hard to get unification there. And I think that like when you look at the shot and you look at the politics, I think that black men in America, at least 1 out of 4, maybe 2 out of 4, is getting closer to 2 out of 4, are just not falling for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that, but black women, I don't. I think that 9 out of 10 going, 9 out of 10 going,
Now, because you know what it
nine
is,
out of ten going.
black women are now getting the jobs black men had, like in the white spaces. You know, because now black men are doing so bad, you know, like education wise, financial wise, that now black women are doing so well. You know, I think they have like the highest. I think I saw this stat that now black women have like some of the highest like percentage of like bachelor's and master's degrees. So they're just getting the jobs that black men now have, and now they're entering these white spaces. So they're just like super liberal, you know, democratic because they're in these white spaces now. You know what I mean? And I think black people now that are getting kicked out, black men, we're getting kicked out of these spaces. We're like, oh, we're going that conservative route. I think that's what's happening.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if they got self-respect, I think that they like, yo, I don't want to take this shot. I don't want to vote for this bitch that I don't identify with. I don't want to, I don't, I didn't want to vote for the crusty old white dude that told me I'm not black if I don't vote for him. You know what I mean? I think a lot of them don't. I don't know. I think that's where it's just a sign of what I feel like is to come when you get the black or the Aboriginal males in America to at least question or doubt you know what I mean? They're not following the women. I think for too long they were following the
Yeah.
women. You know what I mean? So now I feel like there's like a breakaway society of Aboriginals, Black Americans that's like I'm not following. You know what I mean? I'm not following. You're gonna have to follow me, or I'll find somebody that will follow me. And so then you get a lot of black women that's like, fuck it, I'll just be alone. You know what I mean? And so and then that's why I feel like this is the this is the point, I guess, it's the inflection point in society where it's gonna have to reach a threshold where like, how long you really gonna be a cat lady? You know what I mean? How long you really gonna be alone? Especially if you so wired, yeah, you know what I mean? You so wired to create. You got that much melanin. How you really gonna just not be with a person that would make you more of a woman, just because of what
Which way
um
they would vote?
the rock what the Rockefeller Foundation told you to think. You know what I mean? Like, it's because that's really, I think that when they talk about black people not taking the shot, I feel like a lot of that is because black men was like, I'm not doing that. And whenever they talk about black people not voting for Kamala or the Democrats,
Mm-hmm.
it's black men. So you know what I mean? So I think that's just a sign of like, okay, they realizing who they are, and that is just a signal of like what's to come. It might be in the infantile stage where they're just like, I don't fuck with Kamala, I don't fuck with the shot. We like Trump better, or I'm apolitical, I don't like nobody. Then that's kind of like the beginning stage of them being like, I'm from here. This is our land. This is the tribe I come from. These are the bloodlines I come from. And it's going to be a small minority, you know what I mean? But I think that's kind of, I guess, all you need, because it's ultimately like it's still the
Mm-hmm.
head. You know what I mean? I think it's the body's gonna follow where the head goes. So um, I just think that like you, this is the same reason why Charleston White's not dead.
Yeah.
It's 'cause,
Well,
you know what I mean? Because like
they
you know,
can't kill him
he
now.
he pushing that envelope where he like y'all are being ignorant. Ignorance is
Yeah.
not cool. Why don't y'all pay attention? Why don't you pay attention more? Paying attention is
Yeah.
cool. You know what I mean? And so I think that that trend is kind of off the ground now. It might not be high in the sky, but I think it's off. It's taken off, and now I think that's another reason why Nipsey didn't make it. You know what I mean? Through that phase, I don't think he would have been able to transit. I think history would have been bad to him, to his legacy, if he'd have lived to now.
Mm.
I think he'd have, because you know what I mean. I think he would have. It would have been bad. I mean, he made the song, right? Didn't he make the song "Fucked Out on Trump"
Yeah, he did.
with
Yeah, he
YG?
did.
I think that would not have aged
That's
well.
that's actually a good. That's
That would not have aged well. That would, and I think that he's so stubborn that he
he
would
would
have
have
doubled down.
doubled down.
You
He would
know
have
what
doubled.
I
That's,
mean? And I think it would not. None of it would have aged well.
so wait, so let's to wrap this thing up. What final predictions for 2024, 2025? By next summer. By next summer, what is the world looking like by next summer? Or by the winter? By the winter.
I think once the income tax dries up, it'll really be a crunch. Um, I think. I mean, this is all like if we have an election. You know what I mean? Like I'm just speaking like in the terms of like if we have an election, there's actually a transfer of power. Because like as much as I don't fuck with Alex Jones, and I feel like he's a puppet, whether he knows it or not. I
He
think that
knows it.
yeah, I mean I mean he knows it. He has to know to some degree. Like he probably feels like he's protected, and maybe some part of him thinks like I'm protected by God.
Yeah,
But it's like now you know that you play in a game where you stay in a certain pocket, and if you stay in there, you'll make it through. So like I think that he is right though whenever he talks about the elections, man. You know what I mean? Like he predicted the last election to a T, and then the one before that. You know what I mean? Because he was already saying Trump's going to win in 2016. I said this shit, but I wasn't even like politically active or nothing. I got videos where I was like, yo, I don't think nobody wants a bitch to win.
Mhm.
I wasn't on some shit like, yeah, Hillary, WikiLeaks, none of that. I just was like, I don't think nobody really wants a bitch to win. I think bitches don't want to be ran by a bitch. And I think that most dudes that are mere actual men don't want a bitch to run nothing. So I don't think she's gonna win. That was my approach. I didn't really look into nothing deeper than that. I was like oblivious. I looked at it like it doesn't matter who
Mhm.
wins. But he was predicting the shit to a T. Like, yo, Trump's gonna win. This is how they're gonna do it. As soon as he gets in office, they're gonna be slandering him even harder, and da 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 da. And look at his predictions on elections. His mundane shit it'd be accurate. So when I look at that, like what he's saying about this election, he's saying like, yeah, like either there won't be an election, or you got your two options. Kamala, they steal it with Kamala, just brazenly steal it, or they let Trump win and blame him for the coming collapse. So I
Yeah.
mean, if Kamala wins,
Either sound possible at this point.
yeah. So I don't know. I just think that yeah, if he gets in, they're gonna yank all of the fucking levers that they can to. If they did COVID underneath of him, I don't think that there's anything they won't do, because like doing COVID is really showing your hand and being like, fuck it, I don't care if we lose credibility to 40 to 60% of the
Mhm.
world. I don't care. We flexing right now, and we showing everybody we flexing. If they can do that under him, I don't think that there's anything they won't do under him. I don't think so. I think we're gonna have serious soon. If he gets in January 21st, 2025, they're gonna be talking about financial collapse, and then once the media gets behind it, then I think it'll be hard to stop. And by 2026, I think we'll be in a full scale financial collapse. The year of the horse, probably by income tax season 2026, especially when that dries up 2026. I think then yeah, you'll be in full scale year of the horse, runaway, fire horse
Mhm.
too. So I think yeah, it'll be everything be burning down, and I think it's gonna be runaway inflation. And yeah, yeah, man. Right now it's the year of the dragon, so I guess it's gonna have some implications to it. The way that things pan out till February. But I think, yeah, you got the year of the dragon, and you got the year of the snake, which, you know, I don't know, could go either way. But I just think 2025 is where people are going to be like, oh shit, the
Mm-hmm.
crunch is on. Then 2026, I think, after Christmas is really tight, and then income tax season comes back, and they might have a buy-in. They might be like, yeah, nobody gets the income tax.
Mm.
It's a buy-in. I mean, we can't give y'all no money back. And then I think from then on is a route. Then it'll probably be a bunch of events for them to blame that between now and election day is gonna be mad events, but then between then and inauguration day in January, I think you'll have a lot of. If Kamala gets in, they're gonna pull shit to try to blame on Russia outright and Iran. You know what I mean? And Trump played into that shit. He was like, if I get assassinated, we should wipe Iran off the earth. And I was like, yo, you dumb motherfucker, man.
Yeah,
Either you dumb or you a
yeah,
puppet.
that
You know what I mean? So I think that, um, one way or another, they're gonna try and blame that shit on that axis of power, where it's like Russia,
China.
Iran, China.
Yeah, I was just saying that.
This is this is why we have cyber attacks. This is why the financial system is melting down, and massive disinformation, internet kill switches, cyber lockdowns, rolling power outages and shit like that. That'll make crime go crazy. And then I think they'll be like, look, man, we're gonna have to turn into a war economy like in the world
Mhm.
wars, where now
That's
we give y'all jobs, but we doing this.
that's
Yeah,
what I'm feeling.
yeah. I think that's the only way they can really kind of the money system has to get reset. So they're gonna have to go to war to try to cloak the collapse and blame it on their enemies, so that they can take shit and also shift the blame, and then also like activate the population, through cyber attacks, maybe terror attacks in the country, blame it on Iran. I think that could get people they psyched up where they could get them on board, where they're like, look, you ain't got shit right now. It's us against them. We need you in these factories. We need you to do this or whatever, until we can get to where the robots is doing
I've been
everything.
seeing the propaganda about how military enrollment or recruitment has been low. You've been seeing all that, like, oh, nobody's joined the military. It's like nobody was talking about that until y'all keep talking about it, unless something's about to happen. You know what I mean? Because no one's ever talked about that before.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, ultimately, I guess anybody's like, yo, war is more imminent
Exactly.
than it is just like a possibility. So I think that people's parents is like, nah, we don't enlist right now, and then so I think that this is just going to be they'll push people the same way they've been pushing people. Like economically, it's a draft already. They make it to where all you can do is sell drugs or go to the military,
Yeah.
really. So if you're in a certain income tax bracket, your parents are, you're gonna sell drugs or go to the military, or you're gonna be an athlete, entertainer, and a long shot. So like that's a lot of people's minds. So it is already a draft, like it's economic. So like I think that yeah, they'll do that shit to where yeah, they make it so bad to where the only job people can have is the
Mm-hmm.
military, and then are producing things for the military, and then they'll eventually have it to where it's robots going to war, and then people just being slaves, servicing the robots, doing shit for the robots, and then once they get that up to speed enough to where they can replace people with robots, then yeah, and then you got full on
Terminator.
Terminator mode. I feel like yeah, at that point, and I think that's like 2031, 2032,
Wait,
and
Kate and
then
Zell, add that
yeah,
to the list of movies. All the Terminator movies that came out in the 2010s. That's the loop too. See, they was telling you all the loop movies. Man,
yeah, yeah. So I think 2032 would probably be like the beginning of the end. Would be on the other side of it, like kind of like maybe when like the Battle of Trenton,
yeah,
when George
yeah.
Washington went over there. I think that's kind of it. 2032, I think people will be exhausted the next 8 years. I think they
I
won't be
mean,
able
people are
to.
exhausted now because
Yeah,
everyone's waiting
but
for
you got a
something
lot
to
though.
happen.
Yeah, but you
Everyone's
got a
waiting.
lot more energy. People got a lot more energy than they know,
No,
though.
no, no.
Once the
I
crisis
completely
hits,
agree. I completely agree.
yeah,
But you,
when the crisis hits, they're
yeah,
gonna be like, okay, I didn't know I
I
was this
just think
strong.
like when you go around people, everybody is feeling this anxiousness right now, and feeling this worry that they don't, but they know because they know something's coming. They just don't know what it is, and they don't really want to know. You know,
Hell no, hell
they
no, they
don't
don't want to know.
want to know.
But and then there's people that want to know just so they can tell people about it, and they're not gonna do
And
nothing
that goes
about
back
it.
to season 3, people.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You motherfuckers ain't started. Y'all ain't started the season yet, so
Bro, you on
I'm
episode
already
one.
8
Wait till
episodes
you get
deep.
to season 3, bro.
Yeah, yeah. Like they're like
Meanwhile,
they're like
you already finished it. You on the new you producing the new series. You're like, yeah, these people don't even know what's in it, what's coming.
yeah, and then yeah, so them motherfuckers is acting like high priests. Like I'm in season
Yes.
7. I'm in season 8.
Now that's really how it is right now. It's crazy. I listen. I tell it every time, man. I just want to just because I always at the end of the story, just like I'm in my 10th grade class, bro, and I'm asking them, do you guys think the world's gonna end? And I played dumb. I didn't even tell you this, but I played dumb. I was like, y'all think the world's gonna end? They said, yo, Mr. A, you are dumb if you don't think the world's about to. Like they calling me dumb because they feel it that bad. They're like, yo, you're dumb. And even the one kid who don't, this one kid doesn't talk, and he goes, yo, Mr. A, I can't believe. Like I think you're a pretty smart guy, but if you don't think the world's gonna end, you might be. And I was like, all right, relax.
Damn,
Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm
that's
like, damn,
crazy.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
10th graders can feel this anxiety. So imagine with somebody who already got the
their parents probably
yeah,
not.
already got
Their parents probably not much older than
exactly.
us.
So imagine what they're feeling. Imagine what people right now are feeling that. You know?
Yeah, that's the crazy thing is that they really got all them kids to get the
That's what
shot,
I'm
all them college kids,
saying.
all
Like
them.
imagine it. Like I
Yeah,
don't even know. I can't even imagine the feelings right now.
yeah, it's got to be crazy, man. And I don't know. I just think that that's like it goes back into what I was saying the other day about like I think people just don't really want their autonomy, and like it kind of was taken from them, and they're not really applying their will to
So
get it back because then it's
there's
like then
effort. You can have
they
it.
have yeah, and so then you get people that's like fuck it, I'm gonna just get a house loan right now, I'm gonna bust a nut off in this bitch right now, whatever, do all this shit that's the most against the grain, against reality shit right now. And I feel like unless you really are insulated, then you know what I mean. But most people don't have that. They ain't got two families that's like, yo, I know the grandparents is functional, the parents is functional, everybody, we about to bust this nut and we taking care of our own. And I think there's not that many people like that. Some probably is always going to
I
be
don't
somebody,
know.
but most people are not like
I don't
that. Yeah.
know not
Um,
person.
I don't know. I can't say I know a person like that. When I was in Egypt, I felt like I knew people that was financially stable. Their families was financially stable, and they had like compounds where the grandparents lived on the first floor because they can't climb the steps. Parents on the second floor, kids on the third
Those are
floor, and then
nice.
so their families was like secure. They had the house for a long time, and like it's a big compound, and they all got the same religion, and they pray together, and they got family businesses. So I think there's people like some people like that in the world, but it's minority, and I feel like I feel like that's like the thing is like the animal part of a motherfucker. People really identify with the wrong shit. Like they identify with the drives, the animal
Mm-hmm.
drives, and so it's like they smell onions, they want to eat. They smell pussy, they want to fuck or whatever. They smell insecurity, they want to comfort themselves. They just going off of just knee jerk reactions. So yeah, people just like my mom got a home loan and my dad got a home loan. I'm gonna get a home loan. I'm gonna just if it was going on and brought me here, and it'll just keep going. As long as I don't look up, it'll just keep going. And so I think people just forfeiting their autonomy. You know what I mean? And like I think we all kind of doing
Oh
it.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
sure.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like I got my toxic trait, my toxic personality, my toxic uh, powers was to take the autonomy away from the other person. Like I was saying in the post the other day, like I'd be like, I'm not gonna let you be able to control your view of me. me or how to break up or when to break up. I'm totally controlling that. If I lose control of that, then I don't feel safe. If you actually like me for me and you want to stay, that would maybe make me reconsider all my prejudices against myself and the world. So I'm not gonna let that happen. I'm taking your autonomy away. I'm gonna make you hate me
Yeah,
and reject me. I'm gonna prove that I'm toxic, and then you have to. Then I'm making you break up with me, and you know what I mean. Instead of just not getting involved to begin with, you know what I mean. So I feel like just looking at that, like I'm about to control my own world from through other people. Is I just think that a lot of people are in that place. You know what I mean?
that makes
So
me think of. I had to do some training the other day, and it was like, "When's the last time you felt shame?" And it was like, and of course I had to answer like, anytime I know shame's, I'm already processing the shame way before I know I'm about to do it. Like just like if you're gonna be toxic, you already
oh
processing.
yeah,
You're already processing what you're about to do before it even happens. So of course I say that answer, and everybody's like, it's like, yeah, I'm like, my fault. I should have just chilled and said, I don't know what shame is.
yeah. Like I'm already. You know what I mean? It's not like when it comes to
Yeah,
causality,
like you
man.
already
Like
feel it.
it's because it's like the
The
past is
present.
the result of
Yeah.
the result of the now. So it's like everything is coming out of the now.
Yeah.
The past is coming out of the now. The future, all of that shit's coming out of the now. So like, um, soon as you be even conceiving of like fucking a wrong bitch
You
or
already
doing some
feel
dumb
it.
shit,
You already know
it's
what
happening.
it's happening.
It's already, yeah. So you've started it. It's like you already initiated the process. It's like, yeah, you know what I mean? It's just like taking steps to anything to where it's like, yeah, I might not be on the edge, but I can see like if I take more steps, I'm gonna be off the ledge here. And I mean, I'm going towards the edge.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's like rocket science, you know what I mean? But
You don't think it's
I
rocket
think
science, but I think the problem is we're around.
people be like, I'm not guilty until I kill a motherfucker. Like, no, if you thinking about killing people, you have a problem already, man. Like, if you
Yeah,
if you thinking about just dish
yeah.
ragging this hoe and just annihilating her vagina for your emotional voids,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
are already like a criminal to
They're
yourself.
like, oh
You know what I mean?
man, if I drink 10, I'll be a bro. That means you shouldn't even be drinking at all. Like, don't
Yeah,
even let yourself
yeah,
get there.
yeah. And it's crazy. I feel like with drinking too, because people, man, they immediately change, man. Like I've gone periods without drinking, and then I'll drink, and then I'll be like, damn, it ain't really kicked in yet. I kind of gotta like force myself to drink a
Yeah.
lot. And then I see a motherfucker that's like in the mode of drinking. They take one shot, and it's like a button to turn on that personality. They're like, all right, no more will. I ain't got no more will for the rest of the day. You know what I mean? Personality's in control
Yeah.
now.
They love
Like,
it too.
yeah, you know. I think that's the most difficult thing. Like where I tend to disagree with my brother sometimes. He'd be like, "Yo, I'm just staying psychopathic for this world," and I'd be like, "That's not any way to be." So you punishing yourself? Like it's like it, but it can make
But
sense when you're in it, I
yeah,
guess.
I mean, you everybody punishes themselves in various ways until I mean, some with drinking, some with other things. You could be football could be your punishment. You never know. You know
Oh, for
what
sure,
I'm
one hundred
saying?
percent. My
That could be your
punishment,
punishment.
leaving,
Like it could be a
leaving,
blessing to
just
other people.
leaving. All of it is like leaving responsibility. And that's what we're saying. Like, the present or the past is a result of the now. It's like it's leaving the responsibilities is itself a punishment. Like getting like because energy is responsibility, the ability to respond. So it's like you letting alleviating yourself of the responsibility. That in itself is the beginning of punishment because of what the way it makes you feel about yourself when you like fuck off on your responsibilities. You know what I mean? Like, as soon as I like leave away from my dog, I got like a relationship with the dog that's not so much of, it's about the dog, yeah. But at the same time, it's about my relationship with myself and like me experiencing a part of myself that happens to surface when I engage with taking care of this dog or whatever. You know what I mean? So when I step away from that and I stunt that experience and that process, it's already the punishment has already begun. And so, like, even thinking about stepping away from it, like we talking about, the punishment has begun, and then actually moving my body away from the site of the responsibilities, the punishment has just gotten greater. So I can only imagine having a kid and then just leaving it or something, or not being in good terms with the baby mom or
I
something.
couldn't even imagine it. I mean, that's what
You was yeah, you was punishing yourself before you, like, really, because like you think about, like, when is the baby created is the question, right?
at the thought.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like soon as your mom is a thought and your mom is born, does that mean, like, by virtue of
You were
that,
punished.
an extent, you
Yeah.
exist, like you're an extent by virtue of her existence, of coming into existence. Then you, so, like, is the baby created then, or is the baby created at conception, or is the baby created when it comes out of the vagina? Like, we're not in
Yeah.
agreement on that, and that's why I feel like if we had a better agreement on that, better view of that, the world would be a different spot. Because then you'd be like, oh shit, like everything's coming out of the now. That means any creation, it was already it was already existing before it became
Before it
manifest. It was
manifested,
already.
I think about that shit too. Like I think about, you know, I told you. Remember, I told you like, um, just like a real personal. Like I told you, my sister died, and like I think about all the times like for that to even happen, and like it was like she. It's like almost in a sense like you processed it like she even knew what was gonna happen before. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like she just acted it out almost in a sense. And I'm like, damn, is that how it works? So to go back to the sense of like conception, it's like, man, it's happened way before we're even even talking about it.
Yeah, because people just, like, they basically just lie down in a chalk line, like, all right, cut, the scene is over.
Yes, it is
And like
over.
like
Like,
Nip like Nipsey, you still gonna be around here? You still gonna be beefing with Big U and hanging out in this area? Like, what are you doing? Fuck this shit. You know what I mean? You don't have to prove no more points. You know what I mean? But that's where it's at. And it's like, yeah, like, you gonna fuck these bitches or whatever. You gonna get these bitches pregnant or whatever you think that makes you a man to make up for your emotional
mhm,
voids. And that, so that's why I think it just takes so much. It's really basic, but it takes so much, like, wiring and, like,
yeah,
structuring, like internal structuring, to break the chains of that. Like, because like we saying, like, yeah, you're a product. If you exist by virtue of your mother and father existing, and them by theirs, then it's a chain there. And so your offspring was already
mhm.
manifesting
Before,
before that.
while you were
Yeah, before you
inception,
even, yeah.
you're being inception. Like
So
that's insane to me.
yeah, for you to experience something different than what was already on the itinerary is, like, going to take total transformation, And I think, since we are trained to think that, being mean to ourselves is being responsible and makes us successful, then it could, because that's really what it is. It's like resistance is success in this world. Like, you do a bunch of
Oh,
push-ups, you do a bunch of resistance training, whatever. Resistance is like what brings it. You go against yourself, you go against your adversaries, you go against everything. Is againstness is what people are taught that brings success. So I think that's where the guidance is like, oh, I don't, I'm not really going to listen to myself, because I'm going to go with the resistance, because this is what makes me stronger or makes me successful. I'm going to be mean to myself. I'm not going to listen to myself. I'm not going to listen to my body, really. And I'm going to just go towards the resistance. Then that's where the strength is. What I mean? It's such a backwards way, you know what I mean? Or it's just not
yeah,
in order, you know what I mean? I think
yeah,
resistance can be cool,
yeah,
just
for
not in order.
sure. But I think what you're saying is too is like maybe if we didn't start that way, right? Like you're coming out the womb being told you got to be hard, right? Like you know what I'm saying? Like you got to be tough. Like
Yeah,
all right, but I didn't even learn my other emotions yet, though. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah, and like, I don't even know the signals.
I didn't know
And the
anything
same
else.
thing,
Tell me I got to be tough right now. All right, all right.
it's the same thing with sex. Like, I need to fucking dominate this bitch in a way
Yeah,
that's physical, like
because
physical
power
dominant. What? Yeah,
or
yeah,
thought.
and it's not. Yeah, and I think it's a difference between like domination and a woman just you receiving a woman's submission. I think that's like a difference. You know what I mean? And I feel like so much of that, yeah, is just people. You know,
Like you said,
it's there's
out of order.
slavery.
Just like you said, it's out of order. Like we're just
Yeah,
taught, and then now you're at this point, and you know, like people listening and on this journey, it's like then you get to the point where you go, oh, like you said, being emotional in response to something isn't manly, but you grow up and you learn that is manly, and you're just like, wait, that's not manly. But if you're taught that, that's out of order.
yeah, and that's how I feel like it's like we taught like Pac was saying in his last interview, like we taught like that, like we're only good for our sexuality and shit like that. And I was just like, yo, man, like the way we taught what sex is, you know what I mean? I'm looking for a sex right now, like a sexual experience that I've never experienced, but I know just by getting closer to my own nature that it does exist, and I know what isn't it, and everything I've experienced thus far is not it.
Mm.
And so, like, I look at everybody, you know, as much as it might be, you could overwhelm a person or whatever. That's not. You want it to be a mutual experience of like
Yeah.
creation, experiencing yourself and experiencing creation. And I feel like the way people are going off of attraction and competitiveness is like, I mean, you just look at it, man. Look at Meg Thee
Yeah.
Stallion. Look at any of the chicks. Like the chick. First of all, I mean, like Malcolm X said, he was like, who in the white community? He's like, the white
Yeah.
community is not led by entertain. They're not led by entertainers and
Dr.
athletes.
Umar is our only leader in a sense we got, and that's Dr. Umar
Yeah,
or Rizit,
yeah.
I guess you could say.
And so, I think that we in a place where people, they want to get a chick that's haughty. Everything is teaching haughtiness, and like I feel like if you read the Bible, it's like there's that one of the things that God or life hates the most is haughtiness. You know what I mean? You read Proverbs and Ecclesiastes. It's like it's better. In Proverbs, it's like it's better to live in the wilderness than to live with a haughty
Mm.
woman. You know what I mean? And it's like like this is however many years old. It's not new. I don't know how many years old. I'm not gonna pretend to know the date that Solomon wrote this shit, but he supposedly was the wisest guy on the planet, and he wrote that shit. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah,
I
but you
feel
know what the
like
problem is too for the black community is we're cooked in the sense of like if you disagree with, oh, this is what black culture is, then you're not black, right? Like just like Joe Biden, like if you don't vote Joe Biden, you're not black, and then you got black people co-signing that. Like
yeah,
that's crazy. Like
gone.
like you, I couldn't even wrap my head around that. Like I literally saw people like when Meg performed for Kamala, everybody was like, "You just aren't black if you don't like this." It,
Ignorance. That's what I'm saying. It's
it
ignorance. It's the ignorance part. It's like that you don't speak ignorance. Like I'm in Brazil right now, and I say something, they're like, "Damn, you don't speak Portuguese." Like it's like a nails on a chalkboard. They're like, well, "Who's talking right now? What you say? What are
yeah,
you saying?" You know what I mean? And it's the same thing. It's like you're not being ignorant. That's the language of Black America, right? Or
black
Black people, and
right?
like yeah, Black people, like and a lot. It's Black America that they package the ignorance of Black
Oh
America
yeah,
because they're the only people that can sell ignorance.
yeah.
There's no one else that can make ignorance look cool. There's no Asian dude. There's no dude from nowhere on earth that you'd be like, damn, he being ignorant. I want to be like that. No one. That's how you know that the Aboriginal American is the head.
But I mean, I even run into that problem too. Like being a black teacher, right? And there's only like two others at my school. Um, One of the problems is all the black kids don't think I'm black because I'm not speaking ignorant. How crazy is that? They're like,
Yeah.
nah, but the way you dress, you don't wear no Nike. You're not wearing Nike to school. What's wrong with you? Like,
Yeah.
Really, that's where we're at.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's like you don't have an ignorance
That's
card,
not
bro. It's just like
ignorant.
you don't have a passport. It's like not having a passport. You're trying to get into this
Oh,
country. They're like, nah, you ain't got the ignorance passport. You don't get in.
I think about it every time. I'm like,
Mm.
man, are they not getting what I'm trying to do here right now? But I,
That's why they love that. Yeah, that's why they love to get the athletes at 18, 19, 20 because
yeah,
they'll be so busy with their
yes.
bodies that they'll never really progress. And then if you do get a dude that does learn a little something, like my man from the Celtics was the
Oh,
MVP. I forget his name.
Jalen Brown.
They'd just be like, all right, you're not on the USA
Yeah,
team.
exactly. But then hold on. You know who is though? Ant Man and Edwards. They love that he's being as ignorant as possible. They love it.
Yeah. If you're not ignorant, bro, and you man, what it's like if you pale and you acting ignorant, then the world hates you. And if you dark and you're not acting ignorant, the world hates you. That's how they act.
Exactly.
That's how they act. In America at least, you know what I mean? I feel like and and so yeah, man. I just think it's such a conundrum, bro. I don't know. Like that's why we're in
That
the
is
place we're
exactly
in because
why we in the place we in. I mean, I'm looking around like, man, there ain't no hope. I'm trying.
where are the black women that are not haughty? They have men that are loyal to them and they have families. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like for the most part, you know what I mean? They got the thing. You know what I mean? They're taken.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you know what I mean? And that's the minority right now within a minority. And so like it's just crazy, bro. Like I think that how can you really have a community if you got haughty women? It's not possible, bro. And
But
then
that
you got men that follow women and be
yeah.
emotional. It's just not possible.
And right
Not
now,
possible. It won't
men
last.
are so emotional right now, and that's all I really do right now is try to get them out of that mode. Like you don't got to respond that way.
Yeah, the conditioning is deep,
I know.
bro.
You got anything else though? Is that it? Is that all you got?
What you think is gonna happen? I guess. Yeah, that's it for me, man.
I mean, listen, I gotta be hopeful. You know.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna come out with a new book soon, man.
Ooh,
Probably on the other side of the Mercury
okay.
retrograde.
New book.
I guess that's
That's
update. But yeah,
that's something good. That's some positive. You know what you really got to do? You got to do not only when you get back, got to do the comedy, but you gotta turn it into something where you can maybe, like you said, make that community.
yeah. I mean, for me, it's tough,
I
man.
know.
You know what I mean? On the out, for the way I look, it's not. The people that look like me generally, like in a broad sense, they're not the type of people that anybody's gonna want to
Yeah.
fucking, not even themselves is gonna want to collectivize with. So I think it's tough just from the outside looking in, and then from the inside looking out, I got my own problems and traumas and um, prejudices that make against myself that make it like I'm getting attacked on the inside and on the outside. You know what I mean? It's like it's tough, man. What was you gonna say though?
What was I about to say? For about what would you ask?
Um, like, what were you gonna say about? I was like, what do you think is gonna happen?
I mean, unfortunately, like I think I have two parts of me. Parts of me, I think I'm hoping for the best, but feel I feel the divide even more. I think they're really going to split people up even more. I think America. I mean, I think that's like look at Let's go back to the movie themes. One of the slow movie themes of right now is like the divisive movies, right? What was that movie? The A24 film with Jesse Plemons with the America, and he was like, "What kind of American are you?" You know what I'm talking about?
Civil War?
Civil War, like bro, like that's what they're. I really, as much as I feel like they're doing it in a way where I feel like it's like they're just showing you with black people. I feel like black people are always the guinea pig, right? So I feel like they're gonna show you. Let's divide black people right now. Like, look at Biden, right? If you don't vote for me, you're not black. And then there's going to be a division even more against black people, even though I don't know how it could be possible. Um, and then I think they're going to separate the white people. I think they're going to try to separate whites, and I think we're just going to start slowly and slowly devolving into sections. And this is like in your like 2030 timeline that you were talking about. And I think eventually, I think there might be eventually some sort of civil-esque war. Somebody may take off and try to make their own state. You never know. White people, they be getting a little. They might try to make their own state. Like, this is what we doing here. like Seattle almost, in a sense, when they did that whole. What did they do when they had their own little zone? What was it called again?
The autonomous
Yeah,
zone. What was it?
zone. Like, I feel like that was the precursor for what's to come. I think we might.
Yeah.
I think that could be a route um, that we see, and I just like you said, and I think ever since you've been talking about them cyber attacks, man, I really could see that. I think they're, what I think they're trying
Yeah.
to get rid of. I think they're trying to get rid of the work from home laptop class. I think they're trying to get rid of all the people that work from home. I think they want to lock it up. Maybe bring them back so they can't travel. I don't know. That's maybe what I'm thinking. I think they want to.
I mean, that would be 15-minute
Yeah,
cities.
that would be the 15-minute cities. I think they want that. I think they want that. Hey, you're not doing the work from home. You come in here. But I think
Yeah,
people would
and then
like it. And what the problem is, going back to the autonomy, people would end up liking it. They'll be like, you know what? I can walk to Dunkin' and then go to the little corner store right here and go to work in my apartments right here. You ever watch Severance? Remember Lumen? Did you watch Severance? Oh, you
I
should
don't
watch
think
Severance. Severance
so.
is really good,
Yeah,
but it's like memory from like his day to his real life. But Lumen is the company. They own the apartments. They own the food,
it's like
everything. People,
Amazon. It's like
yeah,
it's like Amazon.
it's Amazon. It is Amazon. People want that. I think people do want that. I think we're gonna get there. I think that's what people. I think that's the next step. Make people just give up, and that's a way to make them give up in itself. Oh, we got 15-minute cities. I'm comfortable with this. Can't go nowhere else, but I'm comfortable here.
Yeah, exactly, bro. It's insane, man. Like I, I think I mean, they pushed a lot of the Gazans into Lebanon years ago when I mean, and a lot of the Palestinians. I mean, when they started colonizing Palestine,
That in Germany,
um,
oh,
because Lebanon was a Christian country. They called it the Paris of the Middle East. Beirut was the Paris of the Middle East, and then they pushed all of those Palestinians into Lebanon, and now it's a Arabic speaking, Arabic or Muslim country. So like predominantly, I mean, it's still a lot of Christians, but predominantly Muslim now. And they had that, they had they went to war over there. Remember what did he say? What was the Eminem shit? He was like, what did he say? He was like, I talking about when he was like, I'm 28. They're gonna take you before they take me. He was talking about because he was talking about going to Beirut. He was, I mean, because they had a war. I mean, the war destabilized the whole area, and now they got a bunch of people that want to take Palestine back living there, and then so I think that if the shit really was to get crazy, I think that because the ambassador to Lebanon told all Americans in Lebanon to leave like 5 days ago or 6 days ago or something. There's like all Americans should leave. So I think the Middle East will really get ugly
oh yeah,
because Iran was saying we're gonna respond, we're gonna attack. You know what I mean? Because they killed them Iranian leaders and blew up that shit in Lebanon. Israel blew up some shit in Lebanon that was supposedly Iranian, and so um, I think that would be like the pathway to destabilize the Middle East, fuck up the Strait of Hormuz, and then you got the Yemenis
yep.
fucking up the Arabian Sea into the Suez
And
Canal.
then
That yeah, because if they keep fucking with the ships in that area, that's already fucking with Egypt's money. That's already fucking with. That's fucking up the whole world's trade through the Suez Canal because the Houthis or whatever, if they fuck with that flow through the Suez, then I don't see why it wouldn't be a regional thing. They'd be like, all right, we want this shit over with then now. It's only 9 million Jews there. They don't have the bodies to throw at the conflict, so they're gonna have to rely on the U.S.
Mm.
or they're gonna have to
All though.
use. They,
That would be the
huh?
domino effect for it all, though.
Yeah. Just because of what it would do, like spreading everybody thin, and then no one wants to be in the war. Like, if you really want to be in the war, I think you could win it. But if you don't really want to be involved in it, I don't think you don't have the morale to take on all these fronts. So I think that's where we kind of at. Where like, yeah, that shit is like on a fucking, it's a powder keg, and then you got your issues in the South Pacific or whatever, in Taiwan or whatever, and I think it's I think it's all a powder keg, bro. The whole South America is fucking
Mm-hmm.
flipped into communism, and
It's a disaster right now. Like
yeah,
when you
I
when you
don't.
really zoom out, it really is a disaster right now. So it's like pick your spot where you want to watch it all unfold. Really,
Yeah, I don't really know where you
I don't.
could go. You know what I mean? That's like a spot that's going to be better than some other
Yeah,
spot. You know what I mean?
that goes in. Remember your last live? You said where did how did the people know where to go? What spot was it?
Yeah.
Who knows? Somebody knows.
Somebody knew.
Somebody.
Somebody had to know. Somebody had to know. Like this spot right here gonna be straight. No matter
Matter
what
what.
happens, this is gonna be straight. Yeah. And I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know how these motherfuckers knew, but some spots obviously got they sustained. They made it through. You know, different buildings and different things made it through. Like, and I don't know, man. Maybe you just go to. I really don't know. I really, you know, what I mean,
Right? Like I don't really know either. That's why I
I
told
be
you I'm
wondering.
moving.
Yeah,
I feel like all the research I've done on Philly. I feel like this is the safest place to stay when it's done. But I'm gonna leave anyway. Maybe Switzerland, Singapore. Those would be good places, probably.
yeah. I mean, I just think that you need to have some type of
You need that money. Yeah, you
established
need
community.
something.
Yeah, you definitely need some people that you know what I mean. Because I feel like you could go places, but then it's like you're gonna be dealing with like Mad Max type shit, like cartels and locals. That's basically cannibals. When they get hungry, what they gonna do? Because most people is essentially just cannibals that eat on some Twilight shit, eat animals, and so I don't know what they would do if push came to shove. A lot of them, and so it's like you just I don't know. You just want to endure. You just want to you want to be able to move. You want to have like be able to move if you need to, and you want to be able to endure
Yeah,
periods of time. I mean, that's the hard part because like you need to know how to like forage, and you also need to know how to like to weather storms and stay put, and how to light a fire in the ground underneath the earth or whatever, so that the smoke doesn't come up to where people can see where you at night. And you need to know how to get away with the shit. You know what I mean? You need to have those out routes. And I think that I don't know, man. A lot of people are gonna be in panic mode, man. And then some people might have it together, but then the people around them will get it all fucked up
give it
for them.
up.
So yeah, yeah. So I don't know, man. I really, it's gonna be people obviously made it through the last reset, but how many of the people here are just clones that was respawned after?
What's the video I just sent you before we went live? I was like, they're not all human. They not all, the clones.
Yeah,
Like, it's out
mad,
here.
yeah, mad people is like pure clone. Then there's people that's like, um,
Yeah,
mixed with
yeah,
clones.
Mr. Clone.
And so how many people is just not clones? It's not, you know what I mean? It's what? It's definitely a lot of. It's mad people mixed with the clone at this
I
point
think those
to
people
where
are here to serve a purpose, and AK for you to like wake up and get on your journey and stuff like that. Though.
Yeah,
You don't,
I mean, it's just I just think it's like you can't serve two masters, and if you got that
yeah,
fucking in
in
you,
you.
you got that. Yeah, once you got that shit in you, and you haven't identified the difference, like
Yeah.
this is the natural essence. Then I think a lot of people are subject to just being operating retardedly. You know what I mean? Who are the clones, man? I mean, mad motherfuckers. Mad motherfuckers have crossed
Yeah, I
with
was gonna say at
clones.
this point, you don't everybody at this point.
Most people have crossed with a clone at some point in the lineage. It might be recessive for more people. It might be more upfront, more dominant, but most people on the earth have crossed with a clone at some point. And but then somebody in their ancestry made it through the storm to even be able to breed with a clone.
Which means, how did they meet the people they met to find out where to go?
Yeah, and then were they just so desperate that they just was like, "Fuck it, give me this clone bitch. I'll just fuck this
Yeah,
clone
they was
bitch." Then,
desperate. You know damn well, man. You know damn well if he was on that boat with Noah, you said, "Can I take her too?" Yeah, you know you looking at Noah like
yeah,
Noah. Come on, man, let her slide.
yeah. You also look at it like, yeah, we need to build some shit after this. So I need as many sons as possible.
Noah's like, all right, let her in. I don't want to see her though.
It's hilarious, yeah. But yeah, man. I guess that's it, though,
Our
man. I
time
don't
though.
know, man.
Yeah, we was on this
Yeah,
2.5 hours.
yeah. All right, then. Yeah, like I said, I
All
got a
right,
new book that I'm
man.
working on, and that's really about it, man. Patreon.com/Taylor Durden, man. $4.
All right, everybody. Peace.
All
Thank you.
right, yo. No, thank you, man. Thank you
Yeah,
for your
thank you.
time.